Government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Madam Speaker, the left has ripped away the pen of truth from the author of life. They've exchanged natural science for a party platform and declared war on biology. Your left-wing movement is forcing children to endure radical expressions of sexuality. And yet, you can't even define what a woman is. You might amend a bill, but you'll never amend biology. Science is not Burger King. You can't just have it your way. I am the youngest member of the House of Representatives, and I never imagined that one of my sacred duties in this hallowed chamber would be explaining to the House Speaker the difference between a man and a woman. Take notes, Madam Speaker. I'm about to define what a woman is for you. XX chromosomes, no tallywhacker. It's so simple. And yet today, this proclamation of fundamental scientific fact will cause the woke liberals in Silicon Valley to strip you of your voice and ban you until you bow at their altar of falsehoods. Patriots like Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson have been muzzled on Twitter for promoting the dangerous and bigoted ideology called science. Madam Speaker, you and your party are living a lie. The Babylon Bee is a more reliable source of fact than you. Perhaps it will click when you hand the gavel to Republicans and realize that truth is king. It reigns with the American Speaker, and you, Madam Speaker, never will again. With that, I yield back.
Now the Ukraine, and St. Patrick's name is now Zelensky.
Imagine a future. The freight trucks that deliver bread and milk to our grocery store shelves, and the buses that take children to school and parents to work. Imagine all the heavy-duty vehicles that keep our supply lines strong and allow our economy to grow. Imagine that they produced zero emissions. Well, you all imagined it. That's why we're here today. Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen.
More to report. With regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well. So we established a new civil rights cause of action for those whose intimate images were shared on the public screen. How many times have you heard, I'll bet everybody knows somebody somewhere along the line, that in an intimate relationship, what happened was the guy takes a revealing picture of his naked friend or whatever in a compromising position, and then literally, in a sense, blackmails or mortifies that person. Send it out, put it online. What do we do now?
Refuse to go along with this, and I'm seeing through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
Welcome back to another night of Stick with Koolfrogg. I'm your host, the one and only Koolfrogg, and it's another night of reading the paper with AmericaShirts.com.
Yo!
What's up, man?
Oh my god.
Where do we go? Oh,
what do we
man.
do?
I didn't realize that it actually played taps in there. I'm like, oh, dang. I might have to actually look at that, see if I don't get a copyright strike for playing that little bit of music. That was the first time that I hit that one. I was like, that's so funny, though, because he's like, where do we go? It's like, what?
He's like, I have no clue. You all are in charge, not me. What the hell? This way, asshole. Okay.
I caught 1 second of your laugh after Zelensky.
It gets me so much that freaking like and she's looking at the paper and and St. Patrick is now Zelensky. And she just looks up and has this grin. Like, it's like, oh my god, it's so damn funny.
That worked out.
It's so damn stupid. It's so damn funny.
I can actually start my studio for the most in YouTube before I go and play those videos, so I'm not sitting there trying to do it in between the videos. Yeah. Now I can play around with those videos and see if I can't get myself a little combination or whatever and throw it all in one and just hit the one button and watch them all play. We'll get there.
We'll get there when we get there.
So, again, we're just gonna mess around and we're gonna read the paper. I really didn't have a chance to actually read the paper today, so where should we go? Should we go to New York Post right away?
What were you thinking?
See what's good?
Were you thinking about doing something else first, or?
No. Like I just said, I really didn't read much of anything today because I didn't have a chance to. So, being that I didn't have a chance to, New York Post, big headline all the way across. Let's just throw this up there right away. That's a big headline. What's this? What's this say? It's right here. This one. Oh, look, Clinton cabal exposed. Look at Trump looking at that. If Trump had lasers coming out of his eyes, he'd shoot straight through her.
Yes. He just like kind of goes a little Super Saiyan. It's like he's just like glaring, and then all of a sudden it's like zzz, like lasers just giving.
Special counsel Durham lifts lid on Hillary's joint venture to frame Trump. The claimant is arguing for the admission of additional evidence behind Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman's pending trial for allegedly lying to the FBI. Oh, let's just click on that and see what that has to do with anything, huh? Do we want to watch a Fox News video?
Yeah. I
2 minutes and 33 seconds. I mean, I suppose we could read this and it would tell us what he says.
Probably.
So, Hillary Clinton's campaign, its lawyer and tech executive, took part in a joint venture to gather and spread dirt about Donald Trump during the 2016 presidential campaign. Special counsel John Durham charges in a new filing. The bombshell claim was made in a 48-page motion filed late Monday, arguing that the admission of the additional evidence ahead of the Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman's pending trial for allegedly lying to the FBI. At the heart of the case is September 18, 2016, text message Sussman sent to then FBI General Counsel James Baker, which was reproduced in Monday's filing. Quote, Jim, it's Michael Sussman. I have something time sensitive I need to discuss. Do you have availability for a short meeting tomorrow? I'm coming on my own, not on behalf of a client or company. Want to help the Bureau. Thanks.
Wait. So Jim Baker was the counsel of the. But I thought he was some scam artist television creature. What the hell? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
Anyways.
Oh, look at that face.
Put a nice big tall
a velociraptor.
pointy black hat on top of that little broom.
In fact, prosecutors say Sussman was a cybersecurity lawyer at powerhouse Democrat law firm Perkins Coie. Had deceived Baker and was acting on behalf of the Clinton campaign when the two met the following day. During that sit-down, Sussman allegedly gave Baker information suggesting that servers at the Trump organization were communicating with the servers at Moscow-based Alpha Bank. That claim was amplified by the Clinton campaign to suggest that Trump was colluding with the Kremlin. According to Monday's filing, preparation for Sussman... Let's just remove her. According to Monday's filing, preparation for Sussman's meeting with Baker began in late July and early August when tech executive one, who has since been identified as Rodney Joff. I mean, I don't know. Hoofy? I mean, it's something.
Not an L, it's two F's. Excuse me.
It's a J with F's, yeah. Began telling employees at Virginia-based Nostar, where he was a senior vice president, to mine and assemble internet data that would support an inference or narrative tying Trump to Russia. This person, who is not named in the filing, allegedly said the point of the effort was to please the VIPs, which Durham says refers to Sussman as Perkins' Coie colleague, Mark Elias.
Yeah, Mark Elias is with Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie is the law firm that is big, huge Democrat law firm, which has, oh my God, I just forgot his name. He went out when Hillary didn't win, and he told everybody to go home afterwards because they're going to have a big celebration party. The hell is his name? God, I just forgot his name. Shoot. I'll remember here after a bit. But he's a big name and stuff. He was involved with Libya and other different things as well. That's a big law firm with lots of money and lots of political connections and everything. So, anyways, but yeah, just
fine.
And then of course Mark Elias is a big name too.
Let's see. Prosecutors also alleged that he ordered
John Podesta. That's his name. I just remembered his name. John Podesta.
Nice. At two other companies he owned to do a data deep dive into Trump, saying he was working with a person at a firm in Washington, D.C. with close ties to Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party. The document adds that this guy even emailed the executive and home addresses, email addresses, IP addresses, and other personal information to various Trump associates, including spouses and other family members. According to Durham, the CEO was highly uncomfortable with this guy but complained because he was a powerful figure. The dive into Trump was given the code name Crimson Rhino. Really? Crimson Rhino? Horrible. You can come up with anything better than Crimson Rhino? Eventually, prosecutors say Joff and his associates exploited internet traffic relating to a healthcare provider to assemble information from Trump Tower in Trump's Central Park West apartment building. Among the allegations made by Sussman were that Trump and his associates were using a type of Russian-made cell phone near the White House and other locations. At the same time, Sussman and Perkins Coie allegedly connected Joff to Fusion GPS, the opposition research firm that hired former MI6 agent Christopher Steele to compile his now famous dossier of explosive debunked allegations about Trump's supposed links to Russia. the whole thing is really kind of ridiculous. I mean, it was 4 years of witch hunting Trump, and obviously now finally, after doing what they've done, now they're going to say, "Oh, look what we did." The most notorious of these claims was that Moscow security services possessed a tape of Trump in a Moscow hotel room with prostitutes who are supposedly urinating on a bed where the Obamas had previously stayed. Really?
I mean, it's all just so insane. I mean, again, this is Donald Trump. Okay, this guy was an American icon for the longest time. Okay, like he's an American billionaire. He was on all these different things, entertainment. People made music about him. He was in freaking Home Alone 2 when he went to the kid went to New York and all that.
WWE wrestling. He was everywhere.
He was everywhere. Yeah, he was everywhere. He had his own TV show, right? You know, on NBC. He was all over the place. He was best. I mean, we were just you know. I'll just say this. I was listening to Michael Jackson earlier, and he was like best friends with Michael Jackson. I mean, like everybody knew this guy. You know, like
everybody did know Donald Trump. In the amazing ones, you can actually go and you can find pictures of him shaking hands with your quote unquote BLM leaders and lawyers or whatever, and it's just amazing the difference between how they treated him beforehand to how they're treating him the second that he became president. And they're like, "Oh, you're president? Now you're racist."
Yeah, exactly. It's like he was one of those people who, the black community, I mean, he hired a lot of different people of, you know, diverse backgrounds in New York. He helped to, I mean, my God, like freaking New York wouldn't even be New York the way it is without Donald Trump. Like he helped, he wasn't the only one, I don't think, but like he helped to rebuild New York from the 70s.
Right.
Like his real estate and stuff, like he helped to build up New York again. That the freaking ice rink that's in New York, that's in where is that in New York? Where they have the ice rink. Like they got it.
Central Park or something?
No, it's some square. What is that square? Rockefeller
Madison?
Square? Is that what it is?
Rockefeller Square? Sure. Rockefeller's the one that has the tree usually, right?
Yeah, it has the tree. There's an ice rink. Like that's like that was built up, and the ice rink was there. That's Trump.
That's the one that they burnt down 2 years ago, right? They burnt down the tree.
The big one?
Do you remember them burning down the tree?
No, not the big one. I remember the Fox News tree here this Christmas, but I don't remember the big one from 2 years ago.
Oh, maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm just talking out of my butt.
Pet detective.
You don't have to quote me on everything. I mean, you know.
Okay.
Sometimes you like, was that what that was? No, that wasn't that time.
Yeah, but at any rate, right? Like Trump was everywhere. He did all this stuff. He knew all these people. He was on The View. He was on all these other different shows. You know, people would be like, "Oh, hey, Trump." I
remember like, back in the day, being a teenager in high school, and Trump being on Oprah.
Oh yeah.
My mom used to watch Oprah on a regular basis. So seriously, I remember watching him on Oprah and Oprah asking him the question, "Would you ever run for president? The way you talk, you kind of seem like you would." And he says, "Well, you know, if it ever got bad enough, I would. I'd think about it." And that's the only reason, you know, exactly the reason why he ran.
I mean, Trump was friends with all kinds of like black American icons too. Like everybody was like, "Oh, he's so racist." It's like that's some of his best friends. Some of his
that's what I said. These
freaking
BLM
Whoopi
lawyers
Goldberg, him and Whoopi Goldberg, they were fairly close friends, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they were close friends to a certain degree. And now it's like, oh gee, you know, like, but Whoopi, like, you know, you knew Trump for a while. She's like, yeah, I mean, but I didn't know that about him. I didn't know this. Like, what the hell? Like, he hasn't changed. He just ran as a Republican. but his kind of ideology
Right.
of America really.
He just ran. He needed to run it under one of the two parties, and that was the opposition. Is basically what he did. You know, he was like trying to run against the deep state swamp. You know.
But anyway, but so you have that as Trump in the background, right? And like big American icon. He's there. Freaking. He won the Lincoln. What is it? The Lincoln Award in Michigan, which is one of the highest civilian honors that Michigan gives because of his support for
the one that he likes to say was his Man of the Year award.
Yes, he calls it the Man of the Year award. It's not technically called that, but yeah. And everybody was like, "Oh my God!" Like it's like just shut up. Like Man of the Year, like it's the highest award they can give in Michigan or whatever.
He was just saying, right?
It's like, right, exactly. It's just the same. Like shut up, right? You know, like it's just the saying it is. But so there's this background, right? And then there's even him on a. I mean, he's done so many speeches, so many different things, as far as like American real estate, and he has real estate things across the world too, but like mainly American. And he talks about American infrastructure, talks about American manufacturing, things of this nature. And there's this background of his, right? But like again, he was with the big kahunas of the world, right? Like, you know, of America, right? Like he was with Hollywood people, he was with New York people, he was with news people, he was with entertainment people. Everybody knew him. Everybody, you know, was friends with him for the most part. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, by the way, here comes this guy out. And he's like, oh yeah, Trump secretly goes off to Russia all the time to, you know, lay around in beds that prostitutes peed in. Like, shut up. I mean, it's so damn stupid. Like, he's a multi-billionaire. Do you think that, you know, he wouldn't be able to, for one thing, keeps things like that a secret? And then number two, why would he have to go to Russia? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't think that he couldn't pay for something like that here if he wanted to? It's like, none of this makes any damn sense at all. And yet we're all just expected to believe this completely on its face bullshit story. Complete bullshit.
Right. Okay, let's see if we can't make it through this article.
But anyways, but that, you know, right? It's like wow. I mean, the background of it. It's like, God, you expect this to. So this whole thing was fake on its face, right? And
ladies
so here's
and gentlemen, it's AmericaShirts.com.
It is. And you get.
I'm just teasing you, bro, because you're going on a nice rant.
Discount code.
I love it. I love it. Good rant. Good rant. The Clinton campaign kept quiet about the engagement of Fusion GPS. So quite that last week, the Federal Election Commission fined the campaign and the Democratic National Committee $8,000 to $105,000 respectively for mislabeling payments to the firm that were routed through Perkins Coie as legal advice and services rather than opposition research. Oh, go figure. They spent $8,000 to $105,000 making up stories and pushing them through as Russian disinformation. Isn't that interesting? Allegedly. According to the filing, Sussman even met with Steele himself, identified as UK Person 1, and Fusion GPS employees at Perkins Coie offices in September of 2016. Prosecutors say that while Sussman told Congress in 2017 that he only meant to vet Steele, the one-time British spy testified under oath in the UK legal proceedings that Sussman shared the Alpha Bank allegations with him, and Fusion GPS ordered Steele to research and produce intelligence reports about Alpha Bank. Research and produce. That word produce is kind of a big word, really, because that's pretty much what they were doing. Is they were just trying to produce something to make it, throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what would actually stick. And the fun one is that it all kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long is this article? Holy man. Not too much left, I guess. Allegations about the Trump Organization and Alpha Bank server ties also allegedly were shared by Steele and State Department officials, while Fusion GPS passed them on to at least one Department of Justice official. After these introductions were made, Durham alleges Sussman and Fusion GPS employees shopped the Alpha Bank allegations to the mainstream media. The claims about the server traffic between Trump Tower and Alpha Bank were the subject of several contemporary reports ahead of Election Day 2016. The most notable story by Franklin Foer was published by Slate in October. Slate, we've read some of their stuff, and bore a headline, "Was a Trump server communicating with Russia?" If I'm not mistaken, I read this article back in 2016. Was Trump server communicating with Russia off of Slate? Because, it's Slate. I kind of like their stuff, and, they kind of have the tendency to at least give, most of the story, from their perspective anyway. And the idiocy of thinking that something is doing something whenever somebody else is fabricating something to actually make it look like somebody's doing something is really a lot different. Just go back to my network administration days and think about how things work and how you can, DDoS somebody without, thinking or whatever. If you know what you're doing. And you can sync somebody super easy, super quick, and just knock out their whole system. Well, you can also do it the other way around and send packets through their system to another if you know how to actually get into it and actually can, get a decent, secure way of actually doing so. And that's pretty much what I think most of that is exactly that. Was somebody who was actually digging in, getting into the Trump servers, pushing packets across to make it look like there's communication between Trump and Russia. Allegedly. Again, I don't know. I'm just, giving you my thoughts and opinions on it. Do we need to finish the article? I think we both kind of ranted on it at some point in time. I think we're.
Yes.
Was there anything good that was in this article? Quote: "The special counsel is not charged with substantive scheme to defraud the government, nor has he charged a conspiracy to defraud the government. The manner in which the internet data was gathered, the objective strength and reliability of that data, and conclusions drawn from the data, and the information that Christopher Steele separately provided in the FBI all have no bearing on the only crime that special counsel chose to charge, whether Mr. Sussman falsely stated that he was not acting on behalf of a client that he met with Mr. Baker."
All these people are in bed with each other. It's the Democrat lawyers, it's the Democrats, it's the FBI, it's the CIA. It's all these intelligence agencies. They're all the same people. They're all the same cabal. It's all these globalist freaks and hacks. And
all these alphabet companies that are out there.
Yep, the companies, the agencies, all of it, the government and everything. It's private-public partnerships with the Dems and the Rhinos and the Deep Staters. And they're all in bed with each other. They're all the same people. And you knew that this stuff was coming out of the FBI and stuff at the time because no one else could have known about some of the details other than it being leaked from some of the highest levels in FBI and other places. You couldn't, some of the stuff they were trying to say that, oh, this was something that he did or whatever. Those type of allegations don't just come out of thin air. This is coming from the government. The media, when they're putting it out there, it's this is coming from the government. This is coming from the Clinton campaign people. And you could tell how it was all, they all were working together even as this was being drafted and this was being put out and news media was putting it out there and so forth. even into the Trump years. That you could tell. And so with this is just more specific as to who did it, what was the exact way in which they did it. But generally speaking, you did know that at the time, if you were like looking at it, and if you understood sort of the chain of custody of information or chain of command or whatever, that this type of stuff was floating around the intelligence agencies, and as well as the Clinton campaign people, and they were both working in sync with each other to go after Trump even before he was put into office. So, yeah, there's that. So, excuse me, sorry.
It told me to read this one next for whatever reason, so I'm like, okay, let's click on it, see what it brings me to. So it says, Boris Johnson urges Russians to seek out truth about Ukraine atrocities.
Oh, you can find a lot of truth about certain things of that nature when you go to my Rumble channel. It is so based, it may not be spoken on YouTube. But Rumble, I can say all of the particulars about these happenings and sorts. You should go check that out. AmericaShirts, all one word, capital A, capital S. Search it on Rumble, you'll find it. It's my same logo. So anyways, but...
And if you found this from watching his Rumble channel, do not forget to subscribe here. If you subscribe here, you get Discord links. And he can talk to us on a semi-regular basis and have quote-unquote based conversations on a regular basis with us.
Yes, VIP, limited time.
After a while, I mean, I don't know how or when I'm going to do that, because, I mean, eventually I'm going to have to close it and just be like, you want Discord links, you got to go to, like Locals or whatever, and, support me there. Like everybody else does. I don't know. Apparently there's some kind of algorithm that you can kick through or whatever that would... I'd have to talk to a couple people. That's the next thing, is actually talking to other people and getting them to show up here at midnight. That's going to be a rough one. Not too many people want to do midnight shows. Let's see here. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson delivered a powerful plea in Russian citizens on Tuesday night, urging them to seek out and share the truth with the atrocities committed by their country's troops in Ukraine. Quote, "The Russian people deserve the truth. You deserve the facts," Johnson said in a video address that he partly dictated in Russian. Johnson cited the recently uncovered harrowing scenes of Irpin and Bucha, where hundreds of civilians' bodies were discovered in mass graves in what some Western leaders and Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky are declaring a genocide.
Now, and another thing here, too, is that Vladimir Zelensky is basically, I mean, from everything that I've been seeing, I haven't listened to him directly say this, but it's almost basically like he's demanding of the U.S. and other nations, like, hey, you need to come in here now. It's like, well, wait, what the hell? I mean, it's your country. Like, shouldn't you be concerned? It's like, no. First thing he does is like get on teleprompter, get on TV, and get on a screen in front of a bunch of people at the UN and start bitching and screaming that the U.S. and NATO needs to come over there and get involved now. Wait a minute. This is a little weird, right? It's like he tries to get NATO and U.S. involved all the time, and then now all of a sudden it's like, see, now you have to get involved. It's like, maybe we should start asking some questions about motivations here. But it's like, it's like we have nothing to do with it, and yet there's Zelensky. He's like, oh yeah, you all need to get involved. It's like, so we just get involved because Zelensky says we have to. Oh, okay, because that's how that works. Because like a foreign nation can just demand that we send our troops in there to die for them. It's like, okay, that's fine, sure, let's do it. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's really getting kind of disturbing on this. So these are all quotes from, Boris Johnson himself. So it says civilians massacred, shot dead in their hands tied, women raped in front of their young children, bodies crudely burned, dumped in mass graves, and just left lying in the street. The reports are shocking, so sickening. It's no wonder your government is seeking to hide them from you. But don't just take my word for it.
So now, just think for a second about the word Azov, and think about some of the things if you associate
think about
with
some
Azov.
of these things that are actually in here. What's happening to young children, what's actually going on with,
And if you listen to a person by the name of Patrick Lancaster, who has a YouTube channel, he went into a building where certain people with the name of Azov were in there, and they had, done things to a woman and, things of that nature. So it's like, again, question motivations, and be like, what motivation would Russia have now to just haul off and just do this thing when they haven't done anything like this before? And then they know that, Zelensky is just going to haul off and call it what it is, and then like demand that U.S. and NATO get involved. It's like Russia doesn't want a war with NATO. He's made that very clear. So it's like, well, who has motivations here? I mean, you just asking questions, right?
Just little questions, nothing big.
Right. Go watch Patrick Lancaster on YouTube, and go watch my videos on Rumble too, for more details in that regard. But at any rate,
again, if you found him, if you found AmericaShirts on Rumble first, and you actually follow him, and you actually see that there's other links to actually follow and find him here, make sure you come down in here and you hit the subscribe button. Share the links, hit like, ring the bell, hold it for a second, click all on there so you get notifications when we go live. And we have the tendency to, have the, go 15, half hour, 45 minutes late. Last night it was a whole hour late. We usually do it on the quarter of the hour just because it just, I have an issue otherwise. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, look at the disgusting pictures. He looks exhausted. Johnson is...
wherever the hell his bunker is.
Sure. So there's just a few sentences here. It says, Johnson and Address encouraged the Russian people to use a private, untraceable internet server to see for themselves the horror unfolding in Ukraine. All you need is a VPN connection to access independent information from anywhere in the world, and you can find the truth. Share it. And really, that's totally the truth. That's how VPNs work. You can actually get yourself into, different areas or whatever that only they have allowed on the internet or whatever for their people. And you actually get yourself there, and you can actually find some very interesting articles on some kind of rather disturbing, stuff that's actually happening. And it really makes you kind of think twice on who you're actually, and how you actually feel about what's exactly going on.
Indeed.
Okay, so it says to read this one next. It says Joe Biden sticking to claim he and Hunter Biden never talked about foreign business. Oh, there's a Psaki clip. Let's go listen to this wretched thing.
Hello, Chucky.
On another topic, a lot of stories about Hunter Biden surfacing this week. So, to ensure the independence of the investigation, investigation, would the president support appointment of a special counsel?
Well, first, the president has never had a conversation with the Department of Justice about any investigations into any member of his family. He said that during the campaign.
Just with the
and he
Department
will
of Justice
continue
of
to abide
Ukraine,
by
that's
that.
all.
So I'd point you to the Department
To
of
not
Justice
do
for
it.
any additional steps they would take. They would make those decisions independently.
Is there any concern that they're not going to be necessarily seen as being able to make the decisions independently if the White House Chief of Staff is out saying that the president is confident his son did not break the law?
Well, that's something the president has said, and certainly he would. But in the same answer to that question, Peter, during an interview
Questions of him
this week on ABC,
doing
Ron
things
Klain
to
also
children.
said the Justice Department is independent and they will make their
Pictures.
own decisions.
And the
Oh, no.
president has said that he never
Nothing illegal.
spoke to his son about his overseas business dealings. Is that still the
That's
case?
all consensual,
Yes.
according to Ketanji Jackson Brown. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they were all the same age, like 45, 8. It's like there's just no difference, right?
What?
They're all in the same age group. It was consensual, people. Get over it. Like that's what they expect.
So I
All
mean,
of us
we just listened to this exchange
That's what they'll
that's
say.
in text here. So I mean, we really don't need to read this again. You just heard it. You just exactly heard what was in, put in the article. Yeah.
Oh, are they listening to screams of children being tortured in their ears there? Like, oh, yeah, it's great. Allegedly, right?
They're sharing. He's got one earbud. He's got the other one. So, like, if we listen to this together, we can listen with a half of brain. We
Not
might
even a full one.
actually be able to comprehend something together. I'll use my left half, you use your right half.
Together, we'll make a full half.
We use Biden numbers, so a quarter. It's free. It's free. There's nothing there. Oh, look at that fool. Who is that?
That fat ass.
Ron?
He's some Democrat hack.
Chief of Staff Ron Klein? Is that who it is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Chief
he's
of
a piece of
Staff Ron Klein. I mean, shirt's half untucked, tie's all crooked.
He's probably just getting out of the
Wearing a
room
mask.
from, another sex orgy or something, and like, oh God, we gotta go to another meeting. Sorry.
Oh, I got a meeting. I'm sorry, dear.
Yeah, like literally, like tucking everything in back. Anyway,
Did he use some kind of hair thing? Like men's club hair spray stuff or something? You see the baldness in there?
yeah, I don't know.
Because to me it almost looked like Joe Biden almost had like the same kind of pattern of baldness. When you kind of look at look at pictures of it, or whatever, you can see that his baldness kind of goes back further on the edge. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, when you combine, the Biden gene with adrenochrome, it's kind of maybe that allegedly, right? Oh, that face. Oh, yeah. He's like, feed me babies, allegedly.
In October, Hunter Biden earned $375,000 from unknown buyers of 5 prints of art that he had at a Hollywood show. It's unclear if he made additional sales.
Because no one's ever done anything fishy with like art sales and like deals and things like that. Because that's never happened before.
No.
Never. Ever in the history of ever. Never happened. Shut up. Shut up.
I mean, so let's see where it's going to bring us next.
Stop asking questions.
This is deadly Fort Stewart helicopter crash may have been intentional?
Fort Stewart. I don't believe I've heard of this Fort Stewart.
Fort Stewart, Georgia. Captain James Bellow was killed after 2 Black Hawk helicopters were part of a crash at Fort Stewart, Georgia. A crash that involved 2 Army helicopters and killed a soldier in Georgia last week was not an accident, and officials are probing whether it's done intentionally. Captain James Bellow, 26, was a medevac duty when 2 UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters were involved in a crash at the airfield in Fort Stewart around 2 a.m. Wednesday.
Oh, what did they collide?
Let's see what Bellow was found dead in the site of the crash. A source told the Army Times a criminal investigation was underway. Officials haven't released details on what they referred to only as an incident, but apparently only Bellow was involved. The initial indication is that all other crew members were asleep at the time of the incident. See,
So
we
they were
cannot
asleep?
adjust. It's I guess we cannot adjust the manner of the damage of the 2 aircraft's timeline of events, or a response from the tower and emergency services, as those details are still considered part of an active investigation. So there's going to be a lot more to go along with this story eventually. It might be kind of an interesting one to kind of go back to and see what comes up next. The newspaper identified Bellow as a native of Charlottesville, Virginia, and decorated officers who began his career in 2017. Officials haven't released details on what is referred to only as an incident.
So it was purposeful, and there was a crash between 2 helicopters. Now, it could be that the one, and they're saying it was purposeful. So, like, what did the one helicopter purposefully ram the other, or what did they both ram each other?
We're like, you move. No, you move. Like bumper helicopter.
You move. Ah!
Playing bumper helicopters to see who fell first. I mean,
Oh God.
I don't know. But only the one person died, so apparently the other one in the other helicopter survived. So it must be his fault. Oh.
Well, that would seem to me like that it was probably just a one-sided accident then, right? Like, somebody tried to come at them, like maybe they damaged their helicopter too much and their helicopter went down the other helicopter they could land.
We're not even going to read the headline. You can see what it says. It was just the next article that it suggested
Or maybe
to
it was
me.
the opposite, but the other was damaged. I don't know.
And I really don't want anything to do with this term right here. Big word.
That's a very
thing.
complicated topic.
Yep, that thing. This is a very interesting article.
Not a very
Let's
YouTube
scroll
friendly
through
topic.
it. Anybody that really wants to read it, that's paying attention, they can slowly stop and pause and read it for themselves. Second Sacramento suspect has been freed early from prison on assault rap.
Oh, what, he's rapping about assault? Well, that's not a crime.
Smiley Martin also has been freed early from a 10-year prison sentence for beating his girlfriend, despite the protests of prosecutors who told the California Parole Board that the repeat offender should stay behind bars. He has no respect for others, for law enforcement, or the law, says Deputy District Attorney. If he is released early, he will continue to break the law. that's kind of normal for people that live in poverty to continue to, 1, use drugs, 2, commit crime, 3, use weapons against each other because they think that everybody else is against them. And 4, they're never going to grow. They're always going to continue to do so until they actually have the thought in their own head to stop doing it. Anybody can tell them as much as they want that they should stop doing something, and they're not going to do it until they themselves in their own head come across to them as that's being wrong. I shouldn't do that. I mean, he's a pretty big dude with them shoulders.
Yeah. Almost as big as Mike Obama's. Allegedly. Who's that? I don't know.
Lots of... Martin is being charged with possession of a machine gun in a mass shooting after a handgun that had been converted into an automatic weapon was found at the scene. Dude, you're that smart that you can actually do this? You can convert weapons from one to the next, and you're sitting there doing this kind of stuff? And you think that, and they're going to go and just release him? I kind of have. I'm going to go along with the prosecuting attorney and say, no, he should probably be sitting for a little while for that kind of stuff. If you're going to go and you're going to discharge and you're going to kill people randomly, no, get out of here. In addition, he was convicted of assault of his girlfriend, who was encouraged to be a sex worker, giving her advice on the type of clients she should pursue and how to accept payment, according to the prosecutor's letter. Oh, so he's a pimp. Okay. This is another guy. The prosecutor told Martin's criminal conduct is violent and lengthy, according to the Associated Press. Martin has committed several felony violations and clearly has little regard to human life and the law. Well, that's pretty much what, happens. I mean, I'd never done any of used any weapons, no guns or anything like that or whatever, but, my young life, I spent a lot of time doing stupid things, using drugs and committing crimes because I just wanted to, and I didn't have anybody telling me not to. And whatever. Texas, let's see here, what's next?
Koolfrogg's a cool criminal.
Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick wants to pass Don't Say law and Lone Star State. We kind of went through. Did we go through this one?
Oh my God! In Texas? No. Yesterday we went through.
Oh, we went through New York.
Yes, New York saying that. Yeah. Well, Florida doesn't say gay, but we say gay all the time. Like, fuck off, people. Pardon my French.
Love their children more than anyone in this world. I have always told my children my number one job is to keep them safe, and this school took that away from me. For the safety of our children, these parental rights violations must stop, and school districts must be held accountable when they break the law. Thank you, Governor, for signing this law.
Great job.
And just so you know, the left, they want that to happen to all other families. They don't want any protections for parents. They think that they should just be able to take your kid and do whatever what the hell they want with them. That is wrong. And she was right to stand up against the school district. And now every parent's going to have the right to do that.
Yeah.
Nice. Sorry, I just kind of boomered that a little bit. So, I mean, we kind of covered this a little bit yesterday when we were reading through stuff or whatever on the don't say gay law, whatever. That doesn't say that whatsoever.
Gay. No, sweetie.
It doesn't say that. It just, putting words in people's mouths to push a narrative is always the easiest way to go, and something that Democrats have the tendency to do.
Like, literally all the time.
And when he says literally, he means literally all the time. Like, every single damn thing they put their hands on.
To give to you. It's just the other side is... The other side is don't say gay. Oh my god. Like, they're hard on it. Like, that's all they have. And they have a crazy old pervert who, does other things in the White House and shits himself, allegedly, right? And, and then some freaking crazy whore that's the vice president who's now pimping America out to the world. Like, that's all they have. And both of their approval ratings are below the floor. So... I think, what are we in the negatives now? No, I'm just kidding. It's not really, but it should be.
So then there's the quote from the Texas Freedom Network Executive Director Val Benavides.
What?
Yeah, Benavides. Whatever. I don't. The quote: "Gender expression by children is not something that is scary or harmful. What is scary is that political activists are grasping at power by overstepping into the lives of Texas families and education of students."
It's Benavides.
I mean, think about it for a second.
Benavides.
Why Benavides? I mean,
You made it sound like a relative to tendinitis or something. Like, that's his last name. It's like, like some sort of like issue with your joints or like a debilitating disease or something.
Benavides, like gingivitis?
Yes, like gingivitis.
Gender expression by children is not something that...
I think that ginger's good.
I mean, it's not something that's scary or harmful. Yes, it is. You shouldn't be teaching your children about gender expression. There's no reason. Stop it. It's okay for girls to dress like boys. It's kind of weird to watch boys dress like girls. I mean, when they're young and they're running around and they're having fun and playing at the park and learning their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s and not worrying about all the other expression this and I'm that or I was so upset yesterday. I'm gonna go off. I was so upset yesterday when I went to go leave the show. Or before we went to go leave the show, I was going to show a video. Because it was right after we were talking about this stuff. And I was like, oh, no, we ain't leaving yet. I got something for you. And then all of a sudden the stream cut.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, what in the world? You got to be kidding me. I mean, it just like cut itself off. Like, I went to try restarting it before the YouTube stream would have actually ended. 3 times and it failed. It failed to reconnect for me on the restream side, so I don't know what was actually going on. But I really want to actually show this particular, because it goes along with this stuff and what I'm talking about when I say stop with the bullshit. Let's share this tab over here.
That was very well said there, by the way.
Do this one.
The stop with bullshit line there. That was pretty quotable. pretty playback.
Right. Okay, so there's that one there.
Oh my
This
God!
one here. Did you see this one?
Throw this woman in a prison cell. No.
Oh my God! Here, listen to this thing. This wench. Let's turn up her volume a little bit.
Baby is gay. Yeah, this is him. He's gay. I called up my dad and I said, hey, guess what? Your grandson? Gay. Gay, gay, gay. My dad says, you can't just say that your baby is gay before he gets a chance to tell us he's gay. And I go, whoa, 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 whoa. Straight people do it all the time. Little baby boy is born. Oh, he's gonna be a heartbreaker. Little baby girl is born. Oh, you better lock her up when she turns 16. Clearly, people want their children to be straight. Well, my son is gay. Gay. Very gay. Baby is gay.
Stop it. That's just disgusting. That's horrible. And you can't. Oh, yep. My baby. It's stop it. It's just a little baby. It doesn't know what you're saying.
It has no clue.
That's called brainwashing.
Yep. That's called child abuse.
It's called indoctrination. It's however you want to look at it.
Trying to sexually indoctrinate your child into thinking a certain way about sexual relations before they even have the capacity to not only think for themselves properly, but to even have any type of sexual thoughts or anything. Like, they haven't even passed puberty. Like, I mean, it's like, oh, we're just gonna, it's just arrest this woman, put her in handcuffs, keep her in those handcuffs the entire time. I don't care if she can't take a shit or whatever. Just like throw her in a freaking jail cell. Like, just throw away the key. Be done. You are clearly insane. You're clearly unstable. You cannot be trusted in society. You're going to abuse your own child like this. You don't deserve to be in civilized society. Done. Like, I am so tired of this kind of abuse. And then on top of that, they post it on the internet with their kid. Like, how is that kid going to feel whenever they grow up? And it's like, oh yeah, like my mommy was dancing me around telling everybody that I was gay or whatever.
No, right. And watch this face. And, whatever. I'm guessing because he's standing. I'm guessing he's somewhere around, 1.5, 2, somewhere in there. Maybe a little younger than that, So it's really dependent, he's still a little short, but it looks like you'd be in that 1.5, 2-year-old range, whatever. Watching like 18 to 20 some odd years, and this kid comes out and sues his mom for telling them this. For telling people that this is exactly what I can see it now. This is going to come up again in the next 20 years, where this kid sues this lady for doing this.
It's complete child abuse. It's complete child abuse. And oh shoot, what was it? But anyway,
You're fine.
It's just complete. It's complete and total child abuse. And again, when that child grows up, that's going to be on the internet, or that's going to be out there somewhere. Somebody's gonna have that. And and again, it's like, here's the thing I was thinking about, right? Like she said, well, clearly parents want their kids to be straight, right? Well, my kid is gay. It's like, well, wait. It's just to prove the inconsistency of this, just to prove that she's just abusing her child, right? Just out and out abusing the child. The idea of someone saying like, oh, the kid's gonna, you better hide her when she turns 16 because she's a pretty little girl now. Like, God, when she grows up, she's gonna be a gorgeous young woman or whatever. Like, you better keep her in her room because everybody's gonna be after her, right? It's like, well, that's talking about when the kid is older. They're talking about when the kid grows up. Nobody's talking about, oh yeah, hey, let's teach our kid to be sexual now when they can't even do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not at all what these people are saying. Nobody is saying to sexualize their kids heterosexually, and if they are, they're a pedophile, right? Like, no one's saying that. They're saying that, oh, the baby's cute and pretty now, just wait till they grow up. And then they go off on their own, and then they start dating high school or whatever. Like, oh boy, you better keep them locked up in their room because, oh, everybody's going to go after them, right? It's like, well, no one is saying that their baby is beautiful in that kind of a sexual way now. She's saying that, oh yes, my baby is a homosexual now. Like, that's what she's saying. Like, she's trying to sexualize her child. This is complete child abuse. Out and out. Any way you look at it. You could tug it and pull it and do whatever you want with it. This is total child abuse.
Don't tug, don't pull too hard.
But you know what I mean. You can pull it to this way or that way, whatever you want to do. Drag the conversation over there. Oh, I'm like, no. Any way you look at this, it is child abuse.
No, yeah, exactly. It's child abuse.
Any way you look at it.
And anybody that's actually thinking that this is okay, that this woman is doing this, needs to join her up against the wall.
And of course, most people say that about their children because, that's kind of a natural thing for children to do. You ever hear of the thing called puppy love, right? Like, kids go around, they're like, they hold hands and they dance around. Like, it's a normal, natural thing. And here's this woman trying to sexualize her child. It's like,
especially young children that actually see, like, their mom and dad holding hands, or when they walk in the room and they see that they're, when one comes home and they encounter the other parent and give them a hug, give them a kiss because you finally seen them after the last 8 hours or whatever, or however long it's been. And, when they see that, they actually see that that's what, human contact is supposed to look like. And it's just not this. It's not this. Not at all. Pushing narrative, objective stuff, whatever.
Yeah, that's what
is
it's supposed
gross.
to be. Not when your parent comes home and they look at you, it's like, what are you? I'm gay. Yes. Like, that's not appropriate.
That's not normal parenting.
Yes, that is abuse. Anyways, but I mean, it's very.
So
very
let's
pisses me off.
So let's kind of move on here. So this next article is that the Oklahoma lawmakers vote to ban abortion, imprison doctors.
No. Excuse me. They're not doctors. They're called human butchers and evil people, and they deserve to be thrown into prison cell for life. For murder.
Kind of curious in what the 53 seconds actually is, if it's just the vote, or if there's something that's actually said about the vote.
Representative Olson, you're recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 612 would make abortion entirely illegal, with making it a felony, penalty up to 10 years in prison, up to $100,000 fine, an exception for a threat to the life of the woman in a medical emergency. The penalties are for the doctor, not for the woman. This is a request bill from Students for Life, a nationwide pro-life organization who testified in committee.
Declare the vote.
70 aye, 14 nay.
Having received a majority vote of those elected to and constituting the House, I declare the bill to have passed.
Awesome. Good.
Awesome.
About time.
Literally.
And this is in Oklahoma, of all places. Oklahoma. It's awesome.
Oklahoma is a very base place, by the way.
Uh-huh. So, I don't know if we really even need to read it, because that really told us a whole lot. The penalties go to the doctors, not the women. The penalty for the doctor for actually doing something that it goes against the will of that life that's inside that woman is, 10 years, $100,000. I mean, most of them, probably wouldn't actually see the full 10 years. I don't know what Oklahoma's laws look like on incarceration, and it's like I'm from Minnesota, so it's like it's a 2/3 thing or whatever. You don't sit the full 10. You'd only sit 6 1/3 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's a start. But I want
Right.
life for people who do that.
Life for life.
Hey,
You just took out the potential next best thing in the world or whatever. Who knows what you just took out?
yeah.
How
What right did you have to do that?
right?
And I like the perspective, though, to a certain degree, right? I mean, I know the woman is to blame to a certain degree for that because obviously it's her child, but she wouldn't be able to do anything like that to that child in her without the help of this quote unquote doctor, butcher, evil, because they're the ones that initiate this, right? It's like someone who says like, "Oh, I'm a tranny," and then they go to a doctor, and then the doctor mutilates them. It's like, okay, it's like, "Oh, I'm a doctor." It's like, no, you're a mad scientist freak, is what the hell you are. You're a freak. You are in the business of making freaks out of people. Like that's what the hell you are. Like, I mean, again, these are called quote unquote doctors. This is our Western medicine here at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. It's killing babies and mutilating people, like and of course eugenics and all that, right? Like that's our lovely medical system funded by the Rockefellers and all the rest of that back in the day, and making it illegal to claim that anything natural would be a cure to anything. Everything has to come from the quote unquote medical system. Okay, this is what this has come to. And now it's like, oh my God, and this isn't the only thing, obviously, but this is a big part of all this stuff. And they claim like, oh, we're doctors, oh, we're this, oh, we're doing this for for medical reasons, whatever. It's like, no, it's all because of abortion. It's all because of depopulation. It's all because of eugenics and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And they were very open about it back in the day until it kind of freaked the people the hell out, and then they kind of had to dial it back. But it's still that's still been around. It still exists.
So
but, anyways,
So then to go along with this, though, so then my thoughts on it are, I mean, it's, I understand, I can hear the argument from the left, like, oh, my body, my choice. You don't get the choice, whatever, this, that, and the other. You don't get to tell me what I can do, what I can't do. And, when
it's not actually their body, but then when it comes to your body and a particular face diaper and a particular jab, right? It's like, oh, you don't have a choice.
Exactly.
But
That's
then when it's
exactly
not
where I
their
was headed,
body,
is
it's another
you can't
human being inside
push
of a
one
woman,
thing and not
then
the
that's
other.
their body. Because we like opposites, because we like to lie and we like to get our way.
Hypocrisy is disgusting. I hate hypocrisy.
It's purposeful. It's a lie. I mean, it's just an outright lie. It's like, I mean, sure, the people on the ground are hypocritical, but where it comes from, they all know it's a lie. Where that originates from, and the people who say this stuff, I mean, these quote unquote doctors and professionals or whatever the hell, like, and politicians and shit, like, they all know this is bullshit. Like, they all know that's a lie. But yeah, everybody on the ground, they're hypocritical. Yeah, they have no brain. They just repeat whatever the hell they're doing.
Right. This group here, this group that you see here.
Right. It's total hypocrites.
We will not go back. Keep abortion safe and legal. Well, I mean, there's.
Meanwhile, we'll forcibly inject.
There's a line to draw on that safe and legal, standpoint or whatever. When you think about it, it's just like, I mean, I'm not totally against, a woman's safety or when it comes down to certain things, which is what their law kind of drew out or whatever, is under specific. Right, like under specific medical conditions, yeah, it's understandable. But, I mean, other than that, no, you shouldn't be able to just do whatever you want, wherever you want. Just go to the corner of Planned Parenthood. And that's exactly what this is going to actually do, is it's going to put a hole in Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood and their billion-dollar company, they need to go away.
Harvesting
that thing is the...
Allegedly.
We'll have to do a special edition of Planned Parenthood or something, and I'm just Planned Parenthood and their ridiculousness of pushing for things, that are disgusting as they are, to actually be able to be okay. It just irks me. I don't like Planned Parenthood.
It's like it's relative to child sacrifice. It's eugenics. It's all of that. Anyway,
So look at this here. Planned Parenthood's Oklahoma had seen an 800% increase in patients from Texas after the neighboring state banned abortion without exceptions following the detection of the fetal heartbeat. 800% increase in Oklahoma. That's why you get this
patients
kind of stuff.
again, right? They call these people doctors, and then they call the people who go to them patients, like it's a medical procedure. Like, oh, hey, help me get out a gallstone. Like, no, it's a child. You evil freaks. You evil monsters. It's a child. It's not a
If you don't want the children, fine. Close
It's
your
not
legs,
like you got shit
dude.
backed up your ass. Like, it's a child, you freak.
Right. Close your legs.
But no, that's the thing. They just want to be able to have all kinds of sex all the time, nonstop, and then just, oh, well, what the hell? We'll just kill the child. I mean, that's what they... And I hate to make this comparison, but according to Jewish tradition, this is what the people in, like, Sodom and Gomorrah and the 5 cities of the plain, that's what they did. Is they would go off, they'd have giant sex orgies all the time, every day, just about every day, and all the elites would do it with them in the streets. And then the women would go back and they would take a thing called a Sodom apple, and they'd make an elixir that would make them very ill. But it was poisonous. But they would make this elixir, but they would mix it up with something, and it would actually poison them, but it would poison the child in their womb, and then it would abort the child, and then they could just, quote unquote, they keep having sex. Like that's what this is, right? And that's what you're saying. It's like, well, hey, if you don't want a child, like, we'll just stop that. We'll just stop doing that kind of stuff. It's like, oh no, they just want to have sex all the time, and then just do whatever the hell they want. I mean, that's what these freaking people want. And then just, oh, what the hell? We'll just keep sacrificing your kid and keep killing the children and whatever, and who cares? I mean, it's just like, just complete evil. So that's one comparison. But,
right. No, I was just being sure that I kind of clicked on the next thing or whatever as opposed to just staying right there. I'm like, oh, it took me to another screen.
Ukrainian sniper charcoal lauded as modern day lady of death. Oh my god. Oh, kill me now. Are you kidding me? So we have the Ghost of Kiev. Now we have something else.
That's the first sentence right off the top.
Oh,
Moreover,
God, yeah.
Ghost of Kiev. There's a few folk hero in Ukraine's defense.
New folk hero. Oh god, it's oh god.
Charcoal. Photos in which her face is obscured by a schmog-style scarf, her weapons draped in camouflage netting.
Can we spot the Yahtzee symbol? Like, can we know? Look on her patch there. There's the yellow and the blue there. I don't know if that can be made any bigger. Let me look this up myself.
Let's see if I can. Can I click on the picture? Oh, I can. I mean, can you see that?
Oh yeah. But I can't really make out anything because it's turned to the side too much.
Right.
I mean, how much do you want to bet? A little bit of Yahtziness. A little bit of Yahtzee going on there.
If there's anything else that comes up through here. These pictures, what are these black and white pictures? They're comparing her to something? They're comparing her to somebody in 1942. Okay,
a Soviet woman. Well, actually, a lot of the Ukrainians from the again, you will find this out from the western portion. Actually, welcomed in Mr. Dear Leader of the Third Reich, and when they all moved in with their Yahtzee people. So yeah, I don't know how exactly that's a exact
Let's
comparison.
read this real fast. It's just a quick little ditty here. So it says, the sniper joined the Ukrainian Marines in 2017, hoping to impress her young brother, who is also the Ukrainian Armed Forces, according to the Post. She saw action against Kremlin-backed separatists in eastern Donbass region, serving until the end of the contract early this year. When Russian forces invaded in February, she joined back up.
Oh my God, she's a Yahtzee. It's like Illuminati confirmed, right? You hear the word Donbass and Ukrainian army, it's like, yeah, there's a Yahtzee.
So Charcoal is being compared to World War II sniper legend Pavlichnikov.
Again, projection, right? Like, oh, they're fighting the Yahtzee invade. Wait, no, actually, she's in Donbass killing people. Yahtzees, anyway, allegedly, right?
Oh, what's this here? These are not people. The Nazis are not as vile as the orcs. The sniper reportedly said of the Russians, we will definitely win. Personally, I will stand to the last. Charcoal quickly became a darling pro-Ukrainian social media, similar to reports of a mysterious fighter ace racking up Russian kills in the early days of the war. The high-flying exploits in the so-called Ghost of Kiev proved difficult to verify and were likely false. But if true, Charcoal joins a tradition of female Ukrainian sharpshooters. Pavlichenko, a Ukrainian sniper of Soviet Red Army, reportedly killed more than 300 Nazi soldiers during World War II. She was nicknamed Lady Death and was awarded the USSR's highest honor in being named a hero of the Soviet Union. So, I mean, what are they trying to say? It doesn't make any sense why they're trying to compare her to this other person. It has nothing to do with her. They're not anything the same, really. They were fighting on opposite realms because, to me, it seems like she, like you said, seems like she's a little bit of a Yahtzee.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty well confirmed at this point. Based upon where she's stationed, it's like, yeah. I found another picture of her, if I can find where that is, and zoom it.
Oh, this is the one that I seen this one earlier, and I'm like, oh, this. I think this is the only thing I really seen. I seen a headline come across my phone saying that this was going to happen. The White House is extending student loan pause through August. So anybody that wasn't or was unable to actually pay their student loans weren't being deducted from, weren't being told that they needed to pay, there's like certain whatever regulations that were happening to the student loans and stopping them from actually continuing to like garnish wages or anything else for that matter. Found it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently, there must have been a little something where Obama must have done a visit with him. Was that today that he did the visit?
Obama?
Obama was supposed to visit. I got a little 25-second clip that I came across. I didn't listen to it yet. We'll have to go and listen to that after we do this student loan payment thing. So it says the Biden administration plans to freeze federal student loan payments through August 31st, extended a moratorium that has allowed millions of Americans to postpone payments during the coronavirus pandemic. According to the administration officials familiar with the White House's decision-making, student loan payments are scheduled to resume May 1st after being halted since early in the pandemic. But following calls from Democrats in Congress, the White House plans to give borrowers additional time to prepare for payments. The action applies to more than 43 million Americans who owe a combined $1.6 trillion in student debt held by the federal government. According to the latest data from the Education Department, that includes more than 7 million borrowers who have defaulted on student loans, meaning they're at least 270 days late on payments. Borrowers will not be asked to make payments until after August 31st. The interest rates are expected to remain at 0% during that period. The extension is the first reported Tuesday by Bloomberg. Democrats on education panels in the House and Senate recently urged President Joe Biden to extend the moratorium through the end of the year, citing continued economic upheaval. Senator Patty Murray, who said more time is needed to help Americans prepare for repayment and to rethink the government's existing system for repaying student debt. It is ruining lives and holding people back. Borrowers are struggling and rising costs, struggling to get their feet back under them after public health and economic crisis, and struggling with a broken student loan system. And all this is felt especially hard by borrowers of color. And that's exactly where you have to bring it. You have to bring it into a race, and it's not exactly true on all of it. You know, they're like, oh yeah, the affirmative action stuff was actually a horrible idea, and it should have never been a thing. Because all you did is you actually brought people into a college area where they're like, oh yeah, you can get a better education, you can get a better job. Well, if you're a straight up moron and you didn't pay attention in high school, college really isn't that easy. Living proof. This guy right here, Koolfrogg. Telling you, didn't pay attention in school. I didn't care. I had no care in the world all the way through high school. Just did not care. Hell, I didn't care for quite a few years after that either. I mean, it took me a long time to grow up and understand that, you know, certain things are your own problems. Taking student loans to go to a school is your own fault. You took the loan, pay it back. I know, I still owe on mine. It's up to me to pay it back. I'm not asking the government to come and pay my bills for me. If I wanted the government to come pay my bills, I would have voted for Joe Biden. Just saying. Oh, is he actually paying our bills? I don't think he is.
No, but remember what he said, right? It's like he wants to pass the spending bill and raise the debt limit because, well, he wants everybody to know in the world that the U.S. always pays its bills. Which is why we're raising the debt limit. Because the U.S. always pays its bills. He just wants to let you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because that's how that works.
Sure they do.
Mm-hmm.
In March, the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank warned that resuming loan payments could place a heavy burden on borrowers who face financial hardship during the pandemic. It said the impact would be hardest on black families who are more likely to rely on student loans to pay for college. See, I'm white. I used them. I mean, it's a poverty level. It's not a. It has nothing to do with race. It's not a race issue.
Why, you racist.
Whatever.
It's like the person who says, hey, let's not try and, divide people against race. You're racist. Because that's how this works. Anyway. You know.
So then, of course, some TDS coming up through here. So it says serious delinquency rates in student loan could snap back to historic lows to their previous highs, in which 10% or more of the debt was past due. The Trump administration initially gave Americans the option to suspend loan payments on March 2020, and Congress made it an automatic soon after. The pause was extended twice by the Trump administration and twice more under Biden. It remains in question whether Biden will pursue widespread debt forgiveness to reduce the nation's student debt. Some Democrats in Congress have pressed Biden to use executive action to cancel $50,000 for all student loan borrowers, saying it would jumpstart the economy and help Black Americans who on average face higher levels of student debt. Last year, Biden asked the Education and Justice Department to review the legality of widespread debt cancellation, but no decision has been announced. Biden previously said no support canceling up to $10,000, but he argued it should be done through congressional action. Excuse me, AmericaShirts are first.com. Flufferfrog 2004. Got a ball sack sitting here for you.
Happy birthday. Wow.
Oh, what in the world? Look at all this. Look at all these people standing here. There's look at absolutely
Super spreader event of the century.
No face diapers on anybody. Oh, there he is. Look at that guy. That guy right there. Oh, why don't you turn into a Super Saiyan?
Yeah. Refuse to go along with this. I see through all your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil. Oh, look at that face. Yeah, there you go. There's the devil.
What? Okay, hold on here. So.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, how's it going with that remote control on Joe Biden's ear? Oh, it's great. It's great. I got my thing in my basement, We have a remote control. We have fun lots of times.
What is he?
Yeah, he doesn't know where the hell he's at. He's like, hey, yo, Joe Obama, where are we, man?
Oh, okay. Probably get dinged for the music.
I mean, he has no clue what's going on. Look at his face. He's like, well, wait a minute. Like, I'm supposed to be the president, but like, am I? Or like, I don't know. Like, it's because Obama and his people and deep state people and globalist people, like, they're the peoples that are actually running things.
I mean, do you see that motion? What does he get? Does he have one hand around her waist or something? Do you see that? See, they both move at the...
What, you talking like Biden has one hand on Kamala and one hand on Obama?
Do you see her body shifts right along with his? It's like the same shift.
Oh, maybe so.
You see that? See how they both move together?
Yeah.
So apparently, so this came up from Poppy Trumple had posted this. So this guy says, this is not funny at all. This is, okay, so nobody knows. Joe's hand looks really weird on Obama's shoulder. Like, honestly, how long is his arm? The video on Rumble shows this video's duration by a few more seconds. It looks like CGI to me. Like, that's the only reason I played it, just because it was something that was supposed to happen with his hand. And it looked normal to me. I mean, other than the fact that it, to me, no, it'll get there.
We'll get there. When do we get there?
We'll get there.
I mean, yeah, that looks normal.
It looks normal to me on his arm, but what I noticed is the second
what some people may think.
this is the movement is he walks up right behind. He's like, okay, get behind her, grab his shoulder. I'm an old frail man, so when I grab his shoulder, I need something on the other side of me so he doesn't push me pull me forward. He grabs onto her, and that's his counterbalance. You get
I mean,
what I'm saying?
it's like this kid who's trying to like grab the shoulder of somebody who he wants to talk to or whatever. It's like, hey yo, like you're the popular kid. Like, hey, wait, I'm the boss. Like, don't like walk around, whatever. Like, it's kind of like the mindset, I guess, maybe of him or whatever. Maybe in this situation, or maybe he's just completely clueless. I mean, who the hell knows? Trying to get his attention, trying to drag, like, hey, Jobama. I mean, but look at his eyes. He's just like, it's just lost. Like, what? George Soros conducting all of this behind the scenes.
Look at him; he looks so confused.
He does.
And then he says, "What?" Exactly is what comes out of his mouth. What? Like, what kind of deal did you just make for me? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to take of this clip.
Well, I can tell you what to take of it. It said Obama's in charge. I mean, I said this before. Obama said on 3 separate occasions on TV how he would not only love to have this, but that it's actually, at the third time he said it was actually happening, that, he'd love to have a dummy in the White House who just, would sit there and with an earpiece in his ear, and then Obama would tell him what to do and how to say it and what to do, and then through his skiff in his basement in Washington, he'd sit there. By the way, Obama hasn't left D.C. He's been sitting there the entire time. And through that, he could run things. That would be his third term. He'd love to have a third term. Well, son of a bitch. Of course, we all know who runs and funds Obama and stuff. It's the globalists. It's George Soros. It's all the rest of them. And then, of course, you have BlackRock that's in his his cabinet and all of them. You have Chinese people everywhere too on top of that. So I mean, it's a whole freaking sham show of goblins. To quote Emily Jones. I mean, he just is like. What?
I mean, yeah. I mean, music's not needed. I mean,
Like, give me a hug. Wait, what?
he's like, oh,
Where'd the child go? Oh, that was
what
in
am
my
I
mind.
doing again? Oh, I'm not the popular one. This guy is. He's like, oh, I thought he was following me. And then everybody come up and crowded him. And you can see who the popular kid in the room is.
Hey, Joe. Yep, Joe is all by himself.
Watch me get dinged for the music.
Oh, it's just God Bless America. And some kind of an arrangement or whatever that people at the White House were playing.
Oh, no. Okay. I think I might have got something good here. Let's try that one more time.
Oh, what's that video you were going to show yesterday? Was this?
No, that was the lady with the baby that was gay.
Oh, yes, that's right. Never mind.
That's-
I just thought, I was
yeah.
like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I had Joe Biden that.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Barack Obama's vice president.
Just the confidence in his voice. Because Obama's still in charge. He's still, everybody still takes their orders from Obama and Obama's people. And, you know, it's all of the same administration from the Obama administration. They're all back.
And I'm Jill Biden's husband. By the way, the only reason Jill's not here today, she's working. She's teaching. And so I just want you to know that's why she's not here. Good.
What did Obama say?
Gotta do it.
Thank you very much. Please. My name is Joe Biden. I'm Barack Obama's vice president. And I'm Jill Biden's husband. By the way, the only reason Jill's not here today, she's working. She's teaching. And so
I hear you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He said it's like he's just so smug with him too, right? He's just like so arrogant with Joe. And
So
I mean,
I
look
just
at
want you to know
Kamala
that's why
Harris's teeth. You could see her teeth like
Not
from a
here.
mile away. She's like, trying to like smile as hard and as wide as she possibly can the
And so-
entire time. She's so damn nervous. She's like,
And
what
so
the
I
hell
just
is
want you
this?
to
What am I like? You know, I forget what my script is. What was I supposed to say? Damn, the postcard. Like, what did it have? Like, like that's anxiety on steroids right there from Kamala Harris. Holy sh!
Mm-hmm.
Teeth clenched, just God. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello, cleanup guys. What are we on about? Oh, we're just some, based commentators reading news, watching videos, and picking on the left.
Yeah, and calling out the globalists
How are you?
to a certain degree, right? Yeah, I also have a Rumble channel. It's AmericaShirts, capital A, capital S, all one word. You can find me there. And of course, I am AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com, where I sell awesomely based t-shirts. I check that out. And of course, Koolfrogg here has a link tree to all of his stuff as well.
And
that's stuff that we do. I have
that's
180 subs on
Linktree/Koolfrogg.
Rumble.
That's KOOLFROGG. So I mean, you can go almost anywhere, and you can actually find me on any platform. If you go to any platform, you should actually come to the YouTube side and hit me a subscription over here. I'll catch you a Discord link, and you can hold conversations with us on a regular basis.
Oh, there he goes. He's responded. I guess it's kind of delayed because it's Twitch.
Doing well, thanks for asking. How about yourself? Like we said, we're doing wonderful. We're just, we're about an hour and 45 minutes into reading the newspaper. We're reading the New York Post and making comments on all the ridiculousness that's going on.
Yep, we went over the
few
Clinton
seconds
thing.
delay. Also typing a bit slower than talking. Yeah, absolutely. We totally understand the typing slower than the talking. We do try to go live right now. Anyway, I'm in the process of moving right now. We try to go live midnight Central Standard Time.
And that's 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, it
You're on the
doesn't.
East Coast.
We're we can talk about non-existent time zones, or we can talk about
Oh yes, right. I forgot.
I mean, ones that don't really matter. However you want to talk about them, it's fun. What bothers you the most about the left?
Well, right now they're trying to destroy our children. And I was just ranting about that earlier.
Exactly, the decimation of our children and our nation, and the hypocrisy to go along with it.
I mean, he brought up a video about a woman telling people that. Okay, he says, okay.
That's a lot to unpack. Yeah, however you want to.
There's a lot there.
There is. There's a whole ton there, whatever.
But specifically today, we were very, ranting about, how they just ham mode going after kids. Like, just complete ham mode. In schools, lefty parents abusing their children, saying that, he showed a video of this woman who was saying, oh yeah, my baby is gay. Like, it's the stupidest. So what you said is already a conclusion. What evidence is
Well, again, you're an hour and 45 minutes into an episode where we've been ranting about random, multiple different issues that go along with the Biden regime. And, which issue would you like us to, specifically talk about?
Yes, you are our one viewer right now.
Exactly, and that's why you're getting our attention. You have our attention. What would you like us to actually... let's talk about the children thing you mentioned. Oh, the children thing? Here, let me show you a little quick video here. And you can tell me how you feel about somebody doing this to their baby.
It's freaking baby.
So let's share a screen here real fast.
Baby's just starting to grow hair on its head. I mean, it's like, God.
So
trying to sexualize children.
The perversion that goes along with this is I can't wait for this kid to be 18 to 20 years old and sue her for doing this to him.
I called up my dad and I said, hey, guess what? Your grandson, gay. Gay, gay, gay. My dad says, you can't just say that your baby is gay before he gets a chance to tell us he's gay. And I go, whoa, 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 whoa. Straight people do it all the time. Little baby boy is born. Oh, he's gonna be a heartbreaker. Little baby girl is born. Oh, you better lock her up when she turns 16.
Again, the connotation being when they're older, not right now, you pervert freak.
Well,
so she says, oh, my baby is gay. It's like, but that's not even what they're saying. It's like, you're trying to sexualize your toddler. You are abusing this child.
And that's exactly what the left is about, is they actually hyper-sexualize their children and trying to make them be something that they're not. They're children. Allow them to have fun and learn as children. When they're in school, they should be learning 1, 2, 3, ABC. Not, oh, let's decide which one of these 52 genders that don't exist I should choose.
Oh, he typed in a couple of things, or
He did,
or she, or
and that's where my rant kind of came from, is from the question of, I'm not going to say, all right, is MTG, why would you assume this crazy person is left? This crazy person, why would I not assume that this crazy person is left?
Well, it's because it's what the left politicians, that's what all of these people who fund the left, that's what they're all pushing. That's
Right.
what they all want to push.
This is exactly
And
their narrative.
sure, not every single individual that would consider themselves to be left-wing in the country is the problem. We're not necessarily saying that. We're talking about well, specifically the elites that push the left wing, like the George Soros types that fund all this shit. Like, that's why I say, like, you know, calling out globalist type people, because that's who he is, sits on the World Economic Forum. Like, this is what they push, because they want to destroy children and they want to destroy the nation state. Yeah, like, for example, someone like, for example,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're
Someone like example, I
you
can
said that name. You can't say that name.
Tell me, who is George Soros? Oh, George Soros is a very old man who collaborated with Yahtzees in WW2. Is a
Yahtzee
multi-billionaire.
sympathizer.
Yeah, multi-billionaire now, and one of the wealthiest people in the world, has collapsed 23 countries, is it? And all of their currencies, and I think even more currencies than just the 23 countries he collapsed, just by his funding of civil wars and all the rest of it. I mean, like, you can go into all the money of George Soros and all the crap.
Have you ever heard of George Soros before tonight?
I mean, maybe not. I mean, you know, he has. Or she has.
Right, it's just a simple question.
And a lot of people haven't. I mean, you know, like Fox News, they Newt Gingrich brought up his name, and they
Yes,
all
I
the
have
people.
studied his life for 7 years. Okay.
Oh.
And you're
Well,
still.
then you know who he is.
Right, and so you're still okay with the way he.
Well, I think he's just asking to see if we know, perhaps, then.
No, right, exactly. So are you okay with the way he's actually running his life and his money and pushing narrative across any media platform that he feels deems necessary? Because I find the narrative fairly disgusting and disturbing.
Yeah. But with this person, consider.
I'm going to make a few corrections. You mentioned something about Yahtzees, so what if I tell you that was 100% false? Well, you know...
Oh, he's on video saying it, like it's an interview with what's-his-face from CBS, and he was talking about how, like, oh yeah, he collaborated with the Yahtzees. He's like, yes, it is. Like, you know, so, I mean, didn't you feel bad about that? Didn't you, he's like, he says, you know, this sounds like something that would send someone to a psychiatric ward for years because of things that they, you know, did, and the theft that they did after the Yahtzees came in, busted stuff up, whatever, you know, took people out of their homes, and you steal their wealth and stuff. It's like, didn't you feel guilty about this? Didn't you feel bad about it? He says, no, not at all, not at all. It's like, I mean, he just says it right there on the freaking interview. And of course, he's Hungarian. I mean, you can go into all like the backgrounds of that.
He's an Hungarian-born American surviving the concentration camps. Yeah, no, we understand that there's certain things that I guess because he resides here, so now he's considered an American, you know, just like anybody else. But yes, he was born in Hungary, tumbled through Nazi Germany, and became a sympathizer.
Well, yeah, he went along with it all. And he went along with it for a fairly decent amount of time. And that's what makes people like myself say, yeah, it's a little more than just trying to survive it. Like, he's going along with it pretty well.
I mean, at least you understand that, you know, concentration camps were actually a thing. That's a positive side note, because, you know, there's an awful lot of people that actually say that didn't exist. It never happened.
Oh, God.
And, you know, now we study stuff like the Azov Battalion, and we end up finding out that, you know, there's certain regimes of Yazidism that still exist.
Yeah. Yep, just like the charcoal sniper lady that we had pulled up here a little bit ago. She was positioned in the Donbass, the eastern region of Ukraine. It's like, well, guess where all those people are stationed at over there. And you can watch Patrick Lancaster for further information on that. And I also have videos on my Rumble channel, which I have 180 subscribers on, where you can go check that out as well if you'd like.
Excuse me. You will not find a millennial who says camps don't exist. It is a conservative belief.
I mean, there are people that don't. I mean, I mean, maybe people around you, but like, I mean, freaking people that I've known. I mean, I don't know if you necessarily consider them to be millennials, but, you know, I mean, oh my God, like, people that I went to school with, my God, they were dumbass as shit. Like, holy hell. Like, they had no damn clue anyway. I mean, that's how bad freaking education system is. It's like, the more the generations go down, maybe you're not one of them, perhaps, maybe your area or where you grew up or your people or whatever. But like, I mean, generally speaking, the education system in this country is degraded to a point where now, people that I went to school with, and I wouldn't consider myself to be a millennial, I don't think. I think I'm probably younger than that, but I mean, like, they're just dumbasses like crazy. I mean, there was a girl there who thought that friggin' the dear leader of the Third Reich, if you know what I'm talking about, she thought that he was president of the United States at one point. I mean, like, it's just the level of stupid is just ridiculous. And this girl was like in freaking sophomore high school. I mean, like, you know.
So then, cleanup guys, don't take us wrong. You know, we love opposing thought and conversation. So, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, if you go back and you watch anything that we've already produced, you know, there's not really too much of an opposing conversation. It's pretty much a couple of base guys telling you some based thoughts on our opinions on issues. So to have somebody with us to actually create more of a conversation is wonderful. Please subscribe to the channel. Come over to the YouTube side, hit the subscription, and, you know, we can hold conversations and, you know, in Discord if you'd like, you know, however you know.
Yeah.
And
special VIP.
There's ways that we can you know, create more conversation, and, you know, get, you know, word out of, you know, certain means of, you know, what's going on in this world.
Yeah, but I would even say too, I mean, like, you know, you bring up, you know, you're so on the left, Mr. Cleanup Guys, or Mrs. or whoever, you know, we've brought up Jimmy Dore. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
He's someone
we've read news from all over the spectrum. We don't just read one side.
I agree with Jimmy Dore on like a crap ton of things. I don't always agree with his solutions to the problems, but like, holy hell, he just sits there and just points it all out. It's like, I mean, you can't tell him he's wrong. I mean, because he's completely right. What do I say here? True. I respect that.
True, I respect that. But your first point is factually dubious. It was your luck that I am familiar with the particular subject matter. At what point would you question that people are not inherently evil? At what point would you question that people are not inherently evil?
I don't know if I'm quite understanding this. Perhaps
well, there's not a question mark after it. I'm just assuming there's a question mark after it. And that's the way I'm reading it, is with a question mark. What point, because of the what? What point would you question that people are not inherently evil? I mean, why are we pointing fingers at people and telling them if they're evil or not?
Okay, it says your assumption is that there is a left agenda to destroy children. You're making the assumption that people are inherently evil. Well, no.
They're not, because, you know, most, you know, that have families and children don't usually sit that far to the left. They usually have more conservative / right-leaning thoughts. For somebody to actually come up and say, oh, look at the leftists, is usually something that they actually grew up into and changed their minds to after being indoctrinated through colleges and quote unquote indoctrination camps.
Oh, here's
look at that. We got another one. Matt JV, Mate JV. Hey, how's it going, man?
Hello, what's up? But to go on a cleanup, guys, here, your assumption is that there is a left agenda to destroy children. You are making the assumption people are inherently evil. Well, no, not people, not everybody. This is people who, again, we're pointing out the people that are doing this, and we're calling it out for what it is, and there is an agenda to push it by elite groups of people who are trying to push this on the United States and other places in the world for their various, globalist type reasons. They're, wanting to destroy the nation state. They're especially the United States, and to destroy the family.
Hold on.
It's all about to have more control.
Cleanup guy says, I agree with that. No one will ever be on the extremes of the political spectrum. I personally believe if you fall in either end, far left or far right, you are inherently wrong. Yeah, exactly. You can go back to, I don't know, probably episode 2 or 3 of what I had produced, and I actually put out whatever political leaning. I did a test where I actually showed where I actually fell or whatever, and it's usually been called a centrist over and over again. So yes, I understand the hypocrisy of the right as well, and we call out the rhinos for what they are.
Oh yeah, there's people. Like Mitt Romney types and all the sleazy, like Lindsey Graham and all the rest. We're not these conservative freaks who sit there and oh God, everything on Fox News is the word of God from God Himself. Like Sean Hannity's the prophet from God. We don't do that. If that's it, we don't pull those type of cards. We don't do that.
So if the few that are in chat have the tendency and are more prone to actually watch from the Twitch side, if you guys actually subscribe, come, send me a DM somehow, some way. I'll get you a link to Discord, and I'll let you come in, and you guys can hold conversations with us on a regular basis. When I say on a regular basis, we're pretty much there, every day at some point in time.
Yeah, but
not at all. You're too incredibly progressive for right. I dare call you moderates. You can call us whatever you want, but you can always be,
labels,
50% wrong, right? Because, everybody has, supposed political leanings where they're like, oh, well, this is that, and then all of a sudden, the playing field shifts, a little bit, where they're like, oh, these people move to this side of the line, and so now it's it's no longer how we felt before. It's now how we feel now, and now we're being being called a different name because we have different thought process, and I just hate people calling people names. People calling people names is the worst and should never be tolerated by anybody. But I'm not going to tell you you can't say them, because we all have rights to say what we need to say.
But Matt JV says, I just woke up. How are you all? Well, we're all doing, I would say, very well. I've had a fantastic day today.
Yeah,
and
this
video, the video has
day.
actually been very good. This past, well, now it's 2 hours, but we've went over quite a bit in the video today in this live stream. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Matt and JV. Nice to see you. And again, hop over to the YouTube side, and you can even hop it over to my Rumble. But yeah, hop over to the YouTube side and give him a sub on the YouTube side, and of course do the same on Twitch.
That monetization thing is really a hard one to get through. Whatever. YouTube's algorithm, to get through it or whatever, it's just to get monetized. You need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and it's like, what? That's ridiculous. I mean, guy could be there forever and never get monetized. And then all of a sudden the next day you get a couple people in your chat that have never been there before, and you're like, oh, hey, wait a minute. Cool, there's a couple people in my chat. So, I mean, like I said, we go live midnight Central Standard Time, the only time that matters.
Yeah.
I found another video, and I want to play it. So we're going to do that.
I mean,
I'm interested.
Election system in U.S. is so weird. Oh, wait,
Sure
are you
is.
from the U.S. actually? If you're asking that.
See, that's something that everybody can agree on. Is so weird.
I don't mean to ask you if you don't want to say, but
I mean, I see the mate, and it makes me think that maybe we're.
Are you talking about the election for the president, right? The electoral college.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, not requiring an ID to vote and all this other, because anything else that you do requires one. I mean, I don't know if we're going that way. If we're definitely need some refinements. Yeah, absolutely. It needs tons of refinements.
Voting books need to be cleaned up. Sorry, I didn't hear him. Oh, that might have been me. Might have been mumbling a little bit. Sorry. Oh, for the president. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's the electoral college, I believe. Probably is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a difficult one to actually hold account. We might have to actually do a special edition of electoral college or something as well when it comes
if he wants
closer
to come back,
to.
sure, we can do that totally. Yeah, if he wants
Right
to.
when it comes closer to election time or whatever, and just kind of do something. So wait, IDs have always been required for voting? No.
Well, specifically a photo ID really is what a lot of people are talking about. Proof of citizenship is required. Well, that is on the books in most localities and in most states. And, for example, the place where I'm from, they're wanting to put in photo IDs. Lots of places are wanting to put in photo IDs for elections, period, for any of the elections. But you do have to have some kind of identification to do that. But if you've seen private video of, let's say, Project Veritas, there's even been other independent people that have done this. They went into a Texas one, even for that matter. Like, this is Texas. This is like conservative capital of America, and they go into a place in Texas, and there's these people that are going in, and it's just like, oh yeah, we don't have an idea or whatever. We don't have this, but like we live with these people, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, go that way, go over to that booth. It's like, what the hell? It's like, so like, I mean, that's on the books. Like, yeah, absolutely, but at the same time, a lot of people don't follow it. So this,
so then really, you could go to the other extreme. It's like I'm currently in the state of Minnesota, and the state of Minnesota does not require an ID at all, of any sort. And there's people that would go from one polling station to the next, and then to the next, and then to the next, and they're able to get away with voting multiple times because there's no ID required, which is kind of taken to the point of why would you feel the need to do so? By the way, Susan, we're not talking about anything bad. We're just kind of holding the conversation.
Oh yeah, right. Totally
yes, several times for several years. Have you guys voted?
Oh, Meta JV says here it's just go vote with ID, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. But a lot of people are pushing for a photo ID because that's more, that's more specific to you, obviously, because it's your photograph. So that's what a lot of people are talking about. Really, is like a photo ID. But as Koolfrogg said, like there's some localities and places and states, and even states, period. It's not all of them, but they don't require an ID. They just require some places, I think, what is it, like requiring a proof of residence? That you live there or something?
That's exactly all it required. It was a proof of residence. So this past, when we went to go actually vote, because my wife wasn't registered voter, She just had to show proof of residence, and she took a piece of mail and showed that she actually pays a bill somewhere, and they let her vote.
Yeah, I mean, that's just...
And that's, if we can ask where you're from, Matt, that'd be great. And that way we can actually understand where your ID is actually required.
Proof of residence is more rigorous than a photo ID. Matt at JV says photo ID is needed here.
Depends on what state you're in there, buddy.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, like, there's been video that people have taken of going into some voting booths. I mean, there's another one in Arizona. I watched a video of someone going in. It was like a camera on their shirt on Arizona.
Finland, that's awesome.
Oh, you're in Finland. Well, that's cool.
That's cool. It's good to
Hello
that's
to
fun
Finland.
fun to know that we're picking up people out of Finland.
It's Finn to know.
If you both can remember to hit that subscription button, come back and watch us again. That'd be awesome.
That's good.
Love other opinions and different thought and holding conversations when it's necessary. So I'm gonna share this real quick. I got a little.
Oh, he says it's tied to your social security. Photo ID is not. Well, and that's one of the things that people get concerned about is that when some of these people, for example, like illegal immigration, some of these people come across the southern border, they come in and they're given like a social security, they're given whatever, and now they have some form of, like proof of residence, photo, like that kind of ID type of thing, and they're not actually a citizen. And that's the the problem that a lot of people are seeing. It's like, okay, well, you say you have proof of residence, but someone like the video that I was trying to explain, I think it was from Arizona that I watched, where someone had it on their shirt, and they walked into a place and they're like with a bunch of other people, and it's all a setup, and they're like, oh yeah, we're all here, we all live in the same apartment complex, we all live in the same whatever, like, and that's all they had to say was like, oh yeah, we all live in the same place. Here's the one person gives a piece of paper that says that they live there, and then everybody else just stands there and says, oh yeah, we do too. It's like, okay, and then they just let them go. I mean, that's the thing that's where it's like, this is real, like down to the poll books, down to the.
So why would you pass a law for photo ID? You just say photo ID is not a good evidence spelled.
Well, photo ID for voting. I mean, people can make up things and so forth, but generally speaking.
So why would you pass a law for the photo ID? I mean, to make sure that you are required to have one, as you are required to have one to do most everything else. From fishing to driving to smoking a cigarette to anything that you can possibly think of under the moon. Why wouldn't you?
Have a seat. Thank you. Vice President Biden, Vice President. That was a joke.
Look how soft he's trying to be with him. He's like, oh God, I don't want to break his arm.
My president, Joe Biden. Vice President Harris.
I don't think it was a joke at first. I think he actually meant to say that.
I mean, these people do that all the time, right? So, a little bit of messaging there.
Right,
Joey
just establish proof of address is more rigorous than photo ID. Do we agree on this? That's the thing, though, is they're taking and they're saying, oh, this is, I'm going to take this one piece of mail and I'm going to, one person shows it and they're like, okay, let everybody else in that's in line or whatever without checking theirs. So it may be more rigorous, but the process of actually doing the actual process of doing what you're supposed to do with each individual person is not being done.
Right. It's about the whole process of the people walking up to
Exactly.
the voter
How do you
place.
get a photo
Hey,
ID?
how
Exactly.
how do I get accepted to go into the voting
Get one
booth,
at
right?
the ages
Got to-
16, 15 when you're with a parent. Your parent signs and says who you are. You get your first ID or guardian. I'm sorry. Some people don't have parents. I get it. You go in there, you get your first one with your social security card and a parent's signature. After that, every 2 to 5 years, depending on the form of ID that you have, you go in and you get it updated over and over and over and over again. You move, you show that you actually have an address change, and they change it for you. If you use the simple process of just doing the ID, every single person is required to have one to actually vote. You surpass the need to actually do the rigorous, let's look to be sure that you actually live here, and not compare it to anything, because you can just go down the street and you can take a piece of mail out of somebody's mailbox and say, well, look, this is where I live. And they're not checking something against it to see that's exactly where you are who you are. So
And the other
is
thing
it more
about, again,
rigorous or is it not?
And the thing is who you are, who you say you are. It has to do with, for the most part, it has to deal with citizenship, because you have to not only live in that place, but you also have to be a citizen. And just
But
because you live in the area,
like I said,
doesn't
you
mean
can
that you're a
walk down the
citizen.
street and you
And
can
you
grab
could
a
have-
piece of mail out of somebody else's box and go walk down to the polling place and say, this is who I am and this is my piece of mail, and go and vote without
Right,
actually
just with
being
writing.
that particular person.
Whereas a
Without a photo to go against that, you have no clue.
Yeah, exactly.
Jimmy YouTube just checking in
hello.
spirit. What's going on, my friend?
Yes, I heard Koolfrogg
I
told me
hope you're
about
doing well.
your hospital visit there. That it was yesterday. But I hope everything is going well with you there. We have a couple of viewers on the Twitch side. I'll come vote in America.
You probably could without an issue. You could
In
come
some
in a
places,
casket
yeah.
and you could still get the same vote.
I mean, and that's the thing too, right? It's the photo. It's trying to get some kind of little bit more tougher of an identification. It's cleaning up the voter rolls. It's cleaning up the poll books. It's trying to get the people at the actual ballot box, at the actual posters there, that are actually there working, that will enforce what they need to enforce. I mean, it's down to the people who count the ballots. It's down to the people who do that kind of work. I mean, if they're not doing anything it's the whole process. Because if people aren't following the process at all, I mean, like, again, you could walk in there and show a photo ID and be like, oh yeah, sure, this is my photo ID, whatever. And like, it could just be any old thing. And it's like, oh, well, okay, that has your photograph on it, so that's supposed to be. It's like, without following laws, without having some sort of stipulation as to be like, this is supposed to be a voter ID with a photograph associated with it, or it has to be your driver's license, and you have to have X. Like, this has to be there. This has to be cleaned up, and this has to be reformed to make sure that people aren't abusing the system to just say like, oh, hey, I lived here for a month, so I'm going to live here for a month and vote here. That's my residence. Okay, I'm going to come here and vote for a month. Like, this is my residence here now. It's like, well, that just can't happen. Like, you've got to. That's not the way that United States congressional districts. That's not the way that all those things were set up. Like, if you live there, if you own property there. Originally, the way the Constitution was set up was, if you own property in a certain area, within a certain congressional district, or within a certain, for a state, for example, like a House of Delegates or a House of Commons, or a House of Representatives of the state, in that district or the senatorial district, if you owned property there and that was where you resided, that's where you voted. So, like, that was, and as a matter of fact, they used property tax. And so if you paid money to the government for taxes for your property, that showed that you in fact live there, and that you in fact have property there, and you in fact are a resident there. And so, okay, we're going to use that, and we're going to say that it's okay to do that. Now it's just willy-nilly, like, hey, as long as you say you lived here for X amount of time or whatever, or like, okay, as long as you say one thing or another. I mean, everything has become so lax and we need to have a little more reform to this to push things back to having more reliable elections.
Oh, dang.
And that's the whole point with it.
Okay,
Oh,
here's quite a statement here. So it says, okay, so let's talk about this. Where I live, mailboxes have locks. So someone from a foreign country comes in illegally, I am assuming, through a car bumper or something. I'm adding this just to spice up things. Yeah, okay, I get you. Who is not familiar with political system, shows up and starts breaking mailboxes, which is a felony, then grabs a mail of someone else, a different felony, and then goes to impersonate the person, a third felony, and votes with that identity, a fourth felony. That is just silly sounding, isn't it?
I mean, they don't come in through someone's bumper. They come in by the bus. Like, they literally bust them in. I can freaking... I mean, there's videos. It's like people go down
that
there.
That was just him adding
bust
colored
people across the
commentary
border.
to his own comment. So, I mean, I understand adding color commentary. So there's generally thousands of
But-
different ways that people have illegally, whatever, made their way into this country and, you know, been able to actually go and vote without even knowing why they're voting or who they're voting for. And they just do it because they're like, oh, I was told that I vote for the one with the D.
Well, right. It's whoever gives them the most benefits.
Because the
whoever-
ones with the D gave me some stuff to
I
tell
mean,
me that
they're
I was going
freaking,
to be
they're
safe.
freaking in Central America. They're handing out pamphlets and things. These non-government organizations, and they're handing out pamphlets saying like, "Hey, you know, you all need to come up here. Joe Biden's going to give you a free
But
ride, a free
exactly.
ticket."
Airplanes,
and then they go up there, and it's like they're
jumping
wearing Joe
walls,
Biden shirts, like they're
walking
marching up
across
to the border,
rivers,
wearing Joe Biden T-shirts, wearing
sailing
Democrat
across
Party T-shirts.
little
Like,
parts of,
that's what they're
you
doing.
know, whateverness, you know, from Cuba or, you know, I mean, there's multiple
And it's not like they have
thousands
this
of
political
ways that
ideology
people
and
make
they're
their
like
way
these little
to
evil gremlins or something.
the
And we're not
United
saying that.
States.
They're just trying to take advantage of the situation that we have in America that allows them to do that. And they're being told it's a free ride, like you're going to have a great life. And so they just come up there because, oh, well, hell, America's open. Like, damn, like, let's, you know, like, let's take advantage, you know, like, let's go up. Let's get Social Security. Let's get this. Let's get these benefits. They're, you know, Joe Biden's talking about giving this out. Joe Biden's talking about giving this out. They're giving out pamphlets down there, non-governmental organizations funded by George
Again,
Soros,
they don't.
UN,
Oh,
and the
hold
rest
on,
of them.
hold on. Again, they don't understand U.S. political systems. They have their own little lives to worry about. Us and our politics is insignificant to them, and assuming otherwise is very arrogant.
I mean, they're not.
I really would like to understand the idea of U.S., but it's super hard sometimes.
Well, oh, that's right. We didn't. Well, I'll go over a little bit of like the Electoral College. So, like, the Electoral College is done for the president, at the very least. And again, you have three branches of government. You have the executive, you have the legislative, which is the lawmaking, and then the judicial, which is the judges, and of course, the executive is the president. He's the head executive,
his cabinet.
chief executive, and yeah, in his cabinet that he appoints. And the Electoral College is based on congressional districts across the country, based upon each state. We have a thing called federalism, where you have a national government, state governments, and then within those states, you have local governments, counties, and then cities, towns, municipalities is what they're called. But the Electoral College is done based upon how many congressional districts that a state has. And then they count up those Electoral College votes during a presidential election based upon, okay, who won this district, right? And then all of that together makes Electoral
Okay,
College
can
votes.
I pause you for a second?
And then that goes to Washington at the end of all of that. And that's what happens during January the 6th, and that around that time. That goes to Washington after that. Just as an overview.
Okay, so
We can go over it in more detail, but I
Cleanup
just thought it
Guys says you are assuming that we are important, that Matt would hop on a plane from Finland just to vote for a fragile old man that he does not even agree with his politics. Well, not necessarily. That's not exactly what was. I mean, there's other reasoning behind wanting or needing photo identification to
But
actually
it's not like these
vote.
people hold political views. We're not saying they hold political views. We're just saying that's the party that gives me the free stuff. That's the party
Doesn't
that lets
matter
me come
what
across the
side
border
they're
and
voting
live here.
for.
And so that's what they're. That's so that somebody says like, "Hey, that's the party that does this." Here, here's the ballot. Here's the thing. Vote. It's like, okay. I mean, that's all it is. Like, we're not saying that these people have to sit there and be these weird lefty ideologues. We're not saying that. They just come across the border with Joe Biden T-shirts. Hey, Joe Biden's going to give me like Social Security. Like, I mean, that's what they're told, and that's who they're told to vote for. Like, that's the problem. That's the issue. These people are being used. I'm not saying these people are evil or these people are devious. Like, these people are being used to wreck this country and flood the first world with the third world, and in the process screw up the whole entire election process as well. I mean, it's a whole shebang. But
So
just
then
take out all the
just
Social Security we don't
on a
have,
personal
all this crap.
side of it, just because, so they understand where we're actually coming from. For like me personally, I mean, I sat on the left listening to, I voted for Obama twice, listening to, the promises and the lies that were actually not, kept, and the building of cages at the border, and the allowing of certain groups to emerge and create conglomerates out of them, such as BLM, and watching what comes from that side and being on that side, it made me think about the stuff that was actually happening, read a couple books, and actually start using my brain to actually think. And it made me actually feel that I needed to get a little bit of information out to others, to let them know that, hey, the disgusting hypocrisy is really something that needs to actually be done away with. Sick of people pointing fingers when they're the ones that are actually doing the disgusting stuff. I mean, I've read history
Cleanup
books.
Guys acts as. Oh, are you? Oh, sorry. I thought.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But
Cleanup Guy says,
Mata JV, do you think that anyone involved in the U.S. would ever give you anything for free? Dude, we live here and we don't get literally anything for free. Why would they give foreigners things to come vote? They can break the current system, and he corrects it there in the next one, legally, in their favor, easier. Allegedly, of course, because we can't say those things on YouTube. But
right. The YouTube algorithm doesn't allow us to actually talk about that kind of stuff. And Susan, we're not actually contesting the election of. At any point in time, Joe Biden is the most legitimate potato ever.
Ever.
Period.
Absolutely. 100%. Potato for life. But
there's nothing that you can do about it. There's nothing at all that we can do about it. He will be marked in the history books as being that guy. And there's going to be like 10 asterisks after that name. Now, this is horrible that YouTube is this way. I think YouTube should not filter what you are saying. You have genuine concerns that are important and should be taken seriously. Exactly. And disallowing anybody on any side of this spectrum to say that they cannot say what they feel is wrong.
But see, this is the thing. You can't
Just
even bring
wrong.
up the idea of voting stuff anymore.
Eliminating one
that,
person's words eliminates everybody's words.
Right, and that's the thing. They're trying to shut down any conversation about it because they want the shit to keep going. They want to, pardon my French, But they want the crap to keep going. They want the voter crap to keep going. They want all this crap to keep going, and they don't want you to question anything. They don't want you to think about anything. They just want you to just keep going with it. It's fine. It's totally fine. Everything's totally legitimate. Nothing to see here, ladies and gentlemen.
Cleanup guys, exactly. Screw YouTube. Really don't care for YouTube, but that's where the biggest platform is, and that's where usually people start off. So they start off on YouTube, and they kind of grow into other platforms. You can find us on Rumble.
Yes, I am on Rumble. I have 180 subs on Rumble if you'd like to check that out. I think I said that before, didn't I?
So am I, and I only have 5. No, leave me alone.
Yeah.
So, you can go and you can find us on Rumble, and you can watch the same content that we're doing here. It does, take a little bit of time for Rumble to actually pick up the algorithm on it, quite, whatever, because it eventually takes the YouTube content and throws it up for it. What is our opinion on Russia?
That's something else. That
I say, hold on. I got one sentence. I say, do some research on the Azov battalion before you make a decision on how you feel about it.
There you go. And again, you can also, my Rumble channel on, Rumble, AmericaShirts, capital A, capital S, all one word, and you search that into Rumble, that's RUMBLE, that is a video platform. It has a green theme to it rather than like a red or whatever. I have a channel there, and I go over all of this stuff dealing with, Russia and Ukraine. And the truth about it, that the left and the right will not tell you about, because they both would love to have a giant war, because they love their wars. That's what the Republican and Democrat establishment, they all can agree on. We all want war, and we all want to blow each other the hell up. Like that's what they all can agree on in Washington at this point in the United States. Is what So. But go check that out for a little more detail. And again, that's just the sad part too. It's like we can't go over that exact details on YouTube. Like you have to go outside of YouTube, learn about it, and then come back to YouTube, and then have a sort of what do I want to call it?
So hold on. So he asked a question here. So I'm sorry. I keep on saying he. Cleanup guys ask a question. Does it warrant the current response? Have you guys heard what happened on Saturday in Kiev? The part that is not near the Yahtzees, the regular people.
Oh, well, the Yahtzees, the freaking Zelensky banned all other political parties except the Yahtzees and his party. That's how high up the Yahtzees go. It's not just simply, they're mainly in eastern Ukraine, but they're everywhere in the government too. They're all over the place.
It's only a fraction of people that are Yahtzees in Ukraine's army, right? And that's the thing is it is only a fraction, and most wars are only fought by fractions of people. It's not fought by every single person, but the fraction of people that are considered actual Yahtzees. There's a difference, because they're pointing their fingers in the opposite direction of where they should actually be pointing their fingers. Because if you actually look at some of the current, whatever stuff, if you listen to what Putin is actually saying, and the reason why he's doing the liberation of the Donbass region is to remove said Yahtzees. So, we can think what we want, or we can actually do the research on all of it.
Here's a comment from JB. He says the president is a Jew. Well, that's true, but the Yahtzees that are there, they're not necessarily anti-Semitic like the German Yahtzees were. These people are anti-Ruski. That's the way they're trained. That's how they, that's what that is. They're anti-Ruski, and that's because of what happened in World War II and the largest battle that happened in World War II between the Yahtzees and the Soviets. And so these Yahtzees were sympathizers
We get
But I
that
can't get into
Donbass
all
isn't
that.
Kiev. Kiev is its own city in the center of Ukraine. We understand this. The Donbass region that is being supposedly liberated by the Russians, which is, just this small portion of the Ukraine, or however you want to look at it, because eventually something's going to end up giving, something's going to end, and somehow borders are going to be drawn. Because that's exactly what's happening.
And I will say,
he's not going to give back Crimea. He's not going to give up the Donbass region. He's not going to give up any of that. Why he's actually doing what he's doing in Kiev is beyond me.
But I will suggest to all of you, look up Patrick Lancaster. He's on the ground.
Oh, let's see what they have to
all
say
the
about
time.
Patrick Lancaster.
And he's recording this stuff. He's been there for 8 years. All of these videos are there. I have videos on Rumble that explains in detail a lot of this stuff that you can't even talk about on YouTube. And you will see patterns of behavior with these people, and you will hopefully come to your own conclusions as to what it is. The mainstream is just a bunch of BS.
Okay,
That's
so hold on.
just to overview them.
We got a couple things here. So it says Ukraine forces took back Boka, found mass graves, dead and R-worded women, and right, they raped them, and children. There are counts of soldiers shouting men doing the same things to their wives in front of the dead and their children. How is that combating Yazidism? And then Mate says denazification does not mean mass killing civilians.
Well, but see, that's the question. We're not denying that happened. What the question might be asked is, who exactly might be to blame?
Right,
Again,
exactly. Who is the blame on this? Who did what?
But look up Patrick Lancaster on the ground. He's in Mariupol right now, and he does video. He puts out a video just about every day, and he's there on the ground, and he does on-the-ground reporting about all of this stuff. He's been in the Donbass for 8 years. He's been in certain other areas in the eastern portions of Ukraine, and he does all this stuff on the ground.
So for anybody listening to this in the future, if anything does happen where this video is not on YouTube, it will be fully downloaded and put up on either Odyssey or Rumble. Again, Koolfrogg, Koolfrogg. If you feel like supporting me immediately, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Koolfrogg and you can support me there. Let's see, we got a couple things here. So this is the Russian government, legally and ethically speaking, is to blame. Russian government, dictator Putin is to blame. In your opinion?
Well, and again, I'm not just advertising my Rumble channel. I mean, go look at it. I explain it all in detail. Like AmericaShirts on Rumble, I explain it. I explain the Yahtzees. I explain a little bit of the background. I show some.
There's things that are said that you can't say on the YouTube platform.
And like I said, I'd love to explain everything, but you just can't do it on YouTube because YouTube will ban it if you say anything over against Ukraine, because they'll ban it for hate speech against Ukraine.
Not in my opinion, legally and ethically, through a simple process of logic and deduction. Again, go look at Ukraine on fire and actually just listen to what it has to say. Putin is threatening my home country too. And I feel for you. I really do. And I hope that's not the case. I really do. And I'm not pointing fingers at either side, because I really seriously have listened to stories from almost everywhere that have something to do with this particular region and what's actually happening.
And we're not Russophiles here. We're not like Putin
I
worshippers.
believe that the United States should have nothing to do with any of it, and NATO should be absolved of itself. The Warsaw Pact no longer exists. Stay out of it. That's all I have to say about it. I would gladly walk you through the process if you're open to it. If you give me a subscription somewhere, let me know that you did so. I'm Koolfrogg. You can find me anywhere. You can go and you can find me on Twitter at Koolfrogg. That's Koolfrogg. Send me a DM and tell me who you exactly are. I'll get you a link to my Discord and we can hold conversations on it. That's totally fine. I'm totally down for conversations of all sorts. You are following me on Twitch. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Like I said, find me on, whatever, Twitter, Getter, however you want to do it. You'll see the orange K that's in the corner, or this green-headed bean that you see in my little chat window or whatever, and you can send me a DM and I'll get you some Discord links. You can come join us for random daily conversations. Mate says that would be a message to Russia that they can tell any non-NATO country. Okay, I think I'm reading that wrong. I think the word is maybe something else.
Can tell.
Can take any non-NATO country. Again, NATO should be absolved. It shouldn't even be a thing. The United States shouldn't have anything to do with it. Why is the United States being looked at to actually cover your butt?
Yes, he corrected himself, Tay, right. But
No,
I mean,
yeah, we got
I don't
you.
even think NATO should exist at this point. I mean,
Right,
that's
exactly.
our perspective.
That's exactly our perspective right now, is NATO should not exist.
Like this
However,
military alliance, like why the hell
Cleanup
does it
guy
even
says, however, I'm not going to entertain your falsely the gravity of the situation in Ukraine. I don't care what you think on the 200 Nazi Yazis that are in Ukraine. It will not under any circumstance excuse the situation, and you keep bringing it up. It's not a look good on you. On the NATO, do not hold opinion about something you don't understand. Oh, you can go back and you can actually look at a couple episodes that we've already done on NATO and the understanding that we actually have of something that we belong to that is protecting other countries from somebody else. We totally understand what NATO means.
And also,
what it's
go look
about.
at my channel as well on Rumble, and I have two documentary films that were made by a man named Oliver Stone. He's an award-winning documentary maker, filmmaker, so forth. And he goes in. It's called Revealing Ukraine is his second one. His first one is called Ukraine on Fire. And he goes into all kinds of detail as well. And I have that posted on my channel as well, AmericaShirts. But you can also look at it on Rumble. It's banned on YouTube. I mean, that's how that much this is banned. You know that you're over the target when they start banning you for crap because you're just having a discussion.
Major, I feel for you for the reason that that neither side should have anything to do with what's actually happening. Russia should not be holding any other countries at in telling them that he would take their country as well, because it's disturbing in itself. And yes, the man is horrible. I'm not saying that he's that he's any better than the next, but neither is the United States. The United States needs to stay out of it. You have the EU to protect each one of your countries. I mean, why do you need us to protect you? That's my only issue with it. Why do you need us to protect you? It's funny that Putin has been president longer than I have been on this planet. Yeah, no, it's not really a hilarious funny. It's kind of an ugly funny when it comes down to it, that he's actually been able to, be such a dictator for so long, and that nobody's going to actually question his motives when he says, "Go do this."
For a long time. I mean,
I remember being a young man and being scared of grizzly bears because, you know, that's what they portrayed the Russians as.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm not agreeing with their political, the way they run their country per se.
No,
all
right,
I'm
but
saying
we're
is
not
that
going to sit there and we're not going to sit there and
from
say,
our
"Oh, it's this guy's
perspective
fault
as
or it's that guy's fault," and without calling out all aspects from both sides of it. Both sides of it is disturbing, and it needs to stop. Ripping us out of Afghanistan, which is another place that we should have never been, to only interject us into another something that has nothing to do with us, should never occurred. U.S. protection NATO is falsely perpetrated by Trump. That is just not true. Transatlantic Treaty was created by us because we needed them to come help us. They are better off without us. U.S. protecting NATO is falsely perpetrated by Trump. That is just not true.
But I mean, we pay for it all, and we give everything out. And so
right, the trillions and trillions of dollars in debt that this country's gone into.
It's our military
that actually goes into giving countries weapons and stuff to actually continue to do what they're doing is kind of disturbing. We need other countries because our country's population may be close to the Russian country's manpower.
And from our perspective in the United States,
God damn, I can't type. It's all right,
man.
You don't need to know how to type. It's fine. We get you.
Oh well, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you know.
They're paying too. They came and fought for us too. It was their military that came and helped us in Iraq.
And we shouldn't have been in Iraq. I mean, that's the whole
Right.
point, right? It's like this.
Exactly.
We're dragging all of this. The military-industrial complex of the United States is
The
creating.
United States keeps getting drawn into everybody else's civil wars. We don't need to be. It's your civil war. Stop dragging us into your shit. Because the thing is it's not that you're actually dragging the country into it. You're dragging political perspectives into it. Because then it's like, oh, this guy was that, but that guy was this. And then you get one person that screams, "Oh, Orange Man, bad." And then you get the next one that says, "Oh, but look at the idiot that's the current potato." And everybody's just kind of like, well, which way do we point our fingers?
Right. It's both sides. I mean, there is one side that's very vocal and very, very dominant, but the other side is definitely involved.
Well, I'm changing the topic. I'm not changing the topic. It's all world
it's just
affairs.
A part of it. Right. It's a part of it. It's a part of the NATO thing. It's part of the military-industrial complex. That's the perspective that we have. Is we shouldn't be involved in any of these foreign things. Whether it is Iraq, whether it was Afghanistan, we're there for 20 years. Shouldn't have stayed there for 20 years. I mean, that's the whole point, right? We shouldn't get involved with Ukraine thing because of all of that. That's the whole point. We shouldn't be giving all this money.
Hold on. So clean up, guys. You're wrong about Iraq War II, but not the current point of conversation. Oh, throwing airplanes at buildings and then telling us that we need to go after weapons of mass destruction, and kind of throwing lies at us for 20 years, whatever. Nothing big.
Weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of
current point of conversation is NATO needing us is false. NATO is that's the thing is NATO covers all countries that are part of the group and are financed by us, aka the United States, on a large amount. And we're there to stop somebody else's quote-unquote civil war. I mean, I get it now. It's, it's not a civil war. It's more of one country's invading another that's not a NATO member. And we're bolstering NATO, allies across the region to stop any overflow of anything that may occur. We're not actually inside the Ukraine for the most part. It's being fought by their own forces, but we're actually pumping our weaponry from all of our NATO members into their country so that they can use them to, so it's more of a proxy war, and it just needs to stop.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need to be involved. We don't need any of this crap as the United States. From our perspective, from our country.
Oh, cute. He thinks 9/11 is unrelated to the Iraq war.
Well, they said on TV, they said, we see no difference between Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden. I mean, it's like, they are the ones that tried to connect it, and they're the ones that are trying to be like, yeah, it's just, and then weapons of mass destruction is all going to be saying. So, like, I mean, again, it's this military-industrial complex.
He says, fine, let's talk about the Iraq war.
I like that we pump weapons to Ukraine.
That we pump weapons to Ukraine.
Oh,
you
Finland
like that
does?
Well, I'm sure they do. I mean, because
I don't know
everybody's kind of. I really don't either. But why wouldn't they? Because everybody else is doing the same. Because they think that this objective of having a quote unquote new world order is great.
Oh yes, the woman. We can this new world order.
We can pull up things.
I mean, it's just priceless.
I mean, we can. We got receipts for our conversations. We don't just go around, randomly throwing, opinions without having something to say about it. Let's see what I can do here.
Yes, the World Government Summit and all the rest of this crap. Let's just come out and say it. But hey, it's all conjecture and crazy conspiracy. Oh, wait a minute. Giant capital letters behind them.
Okay, so
YouTube channel
I don't have
World Government
that
Summit,
on.
Dubai. But then, of course, here we're talking about the woman from Fox News interview from Ukraine, the parliamentarian woman, I believe is who that is.
Hold on, see what's behind here.
It's an MP4, right? Or do you have a link?
Yeah, I just want to be sure that there's nothing sitting behind because I have to actually share the screen.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do.
Because of what it is. So
Matta JV says, like I said, if Russia can take Ukraine, it might as well take us next. Well, again, I can't go into all of these details because this is not YouTube friendly, and that's the thing. It's so irritating. Well, that's okay. That's fine. I mean, we can understand.
I can't express my opinions because of my poor English. At least I'm learning here. No, and that's exactly what we're all here for is to actually learn something new. I'm not trying to push, my own perspective on telling you that you need to think a certain way, because for me to tell you to think a certain way would actually give you the opinion that you can do the same to me, which is wrong. Nobody should be able to tell anybody what they can say and not say. Everybody has their own opinions, and we should be allowed to actually express them. So let's listen to what this lady actually said. This is very interesting.
Oh,
and I know this is.
There's no sound. No sound.
I hear you.
Okay.
I gotta stop sharing it for a second and reshare it with system audio. Okay, so. And I know this is Fox News. We don't really, believe in Fox News's, beliefs and whatever.
Oh God.
It's
Fox
just,
News is freaking mainstream as crap anymore.
Right. We just, it's right. Exactly. It's just another mainstream perspective to push narrative.
Just to try to be like, oh yes, we're the conservative people. So yes, all conservatives, please go over here. And then they get fed the exact same talking points, the exact same narrative. I mean, again, you can't talk about George Soros on Fox News. Like Glenn Beck tried to talk about George Soros on Fox News. and
this lady right here. So let's watch
The
this.
rest of us that aren't Ukrainians, I think the world, quite frankly, Kira, is surprised by the will of the Ukrainian people to stand up and fight. Are you?
Well, I'm not surprised. We have been fighting Putin for the last 8 years, and we had 3 revolutions in our country when we did not agree with what was going on with the direction of where we're moving in. But right now, it's a critical time because we know that we not only fight for Ukraine, we fight for this new world order for the democratic countries. We knew that we are the shield for the Europe.
We have to show the public
Oops.
the relationship.
And I knew that something was going to pop up other than the one video that I had selected. But, you know, that happens.
And again, for the further explanation of our perspective, well, at least my perspective, I'm not going to necessarily speak for Koolfrogg, but he pretty well agrees for the most part, I guess. But for the perspective that I give on this, it's very detailed.
We're pretty much both
Go
in the
to
same
my Rumble
base
channel,
perspective.
and I explain everything. I have detailed videos where I explain everything. I think they have closed captioning on Rumble. Let me look. I think for Mr. Meta JV, so he doesn't have to necessarily decipher through all of the English all the time. I think they
Okay,
have
so
closed captioning.
Cleanup Guys really has a nice statement here. So it says, we're going back. Before 9/11, U.S. and Saudi became butt buddies, and Saudi lets them start building bases and extracting oil. This is during... Holy man, he just threw another one at me. Okay,
But
hold on
before
here.
you go into this, I just want to say again, for the full perspective on this as well, look at Oliver Stone's documentaries. There's 2 documentaries about Ukraine. One is called Ukraine
Yes,
on
we know,
Fire,
and we can find
one is
them at
called Revealing
AmericaShirts.
Ukraine. Yes, but it's not just on it's not just on mine. There's other places you can find it as well. But again, it's just a quick link to come to since you're listening here, to go and just watch it there. I have both of them posted. I have 180 subs. It's the same avatar that you see here in the blue with the shirt, AmericaShirts, and it's all there. Go and watch it, and because you will be amazed at the level of deception that the mainstream in a lot of countries, I would say including Finland, and a lot of European countries, a lot of the mainstream just feeds you a bunch of malarkey.
Okay, hold on.
So-
Okay, let's read what this. He's got so much here. So he says, most of the East is not holding a great view towards U.S. In the meantime, U.S. is having all these bases in Saudi. The person who is building the bases, his name is Mohammed, just like a very common name. There's a lot of people that go by that name. And then he just threw another one at me. Yeah, hold on here. The person who's building the base is named Mohammed. He is getting really, really rich. And in the meantime, Mohammed has a son who is fighting in Afghanistan on guerrilla warfare. Character limit. So he hit the end of his limit on that one. So he had a whole bunch more to say. So while this is going on, Iraq invades Kuwait. Saudi Arabia sees this as a threat. Mohammed's son comes to Saudi and says, hey, we have developed all these guerrilla warfare tactics. We can fight them. Prince and Saudi say no, take Mohammed's son's passport and force him to home confinement. His son's name is Osama, by the way. U.S. goes to Iran and asks for their help, and with help of Iran, they fight Iraq out. Osama escapes Saudi, goes to Afghanistan and plans 9/11. So Osama bin Laden was inherently against Saddam Hussein, saying that they were working together, and Iraq was related to 9/11 as factually false.
Well, no one was
You
saying
have
that.
many
I
news
was saying-
outlets that are directly tied to the government. Okay, hold on. I'm not even gonna do that very last one. I shouldn't even read that. So, before you go off on your little rant, because I know how you like to rant, you can get into it very easily, and it's hard for me to stop you. The 9/11 isn't something that's
tied to your facts that you have tied into your what happened on that side. The fact is the United States needed a reason to actually get and put themselves in Iraq in the first place. So the United States threw something called 9/11, and they went and caused us to actually go to war against weapons of mass destruction, which interjected us into the war in Iraq. And that's the only reason that we were there, is because we were lied to. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm going to tell you exactly from the U.S. side what exactly happened. So think what you want. It was the United States that was in the wrong. And now the United States needs to leave all these other countries alone and just be the United States.
But I wasn't even talking about saying that Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein were working together. I'm saying the United States government people. I mean, you can look up the videos on this. I mean, it's they were constantly on TV saying that U.S. government officials, there's the State Department people, Condoleezza Rice, you had Bush, you had all these people in the Bush years. All of his people, they all said there's no difference between Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm saying that's what they were saying to try to get us into the war. They were lying.
Right. Those are the words that were transported, that were
To try
fed
to get
across
us to get
the
involved
TV
because, oh my God,
as
9/11, we don't want that to
propaganda
happen
to
again.
us United States citizens.
Right. Because it's like, oh my God, we don't want things like that to happen again. Yeah, exactly. You don't want that to happen again. We got to get those terrorists. Oh my God, weapons of mass destruction. And then we all go in there and there's no weapons of mass destruction. Okay, so that's the point that I was making about the military-industrial complex. And that's the whole thing with
So
NATO
you
and all the rest of it. That's how that ties in together. But
So then Cleanup Guy says you can't do that, though. All those countries came and helped us. It is our turn to pay up and help them. No. Everybody needs to leave everybody else alone. Stop creating wars that don't need to be fought.
yeah, basically.
I mean, I'm not for this new world order bullshit either. But you know, when it comes down to it, everybody signs treaties, and everybody goes against the treaties eventually, and they do something that isn't correct. And why Putin did the same is exactly that. They held their end of the bargain. We need to hold ours now. No, they do not. I mean,
but like that's not how.
Really don't know how to decipher your last couple.
Together. Like it's not like, oh gee, well, you hold your end of the bargain, okay, you hold yours. It's like, despite how many deaths there'll be, despite how many this, despite how many that, I mean, like, that's not how this should work at all. And that's what we're saying.
NATO should have been absolved way back, right after the Warsaw Pact was absolved in itself. I mean, just saying. That was the reason that NATO was actually, built, and why it was actually created the way it was to protect these countries from quote-unquote communism.
I mean, yeah, like nation states. Here's Meta JV says, we need each other's because alone we're weak, NATO and Europe. Well, yeah. I mean, if Europe wants to create an alliance and deal with Europe's problems, more power to you. Deal with your problems in Europe. We here in the United States shouldn't be involved in other continents. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't need to be involved in all of this kind of stuff. We don't need to be sacrificing
It just creates political division is all it does.
In our own country, and then just further, degrades everything else. People, if you want to create alliances in Europe, if the people want to create an alliance and say, hey, we don't trust the Ruskies, we don't trust Russia, we want to create an alliance against Russia, that's your prerogative in Europe. We should not be involved in that. We're against the Iraq War.
No,
we're
exactly. Hold on.
War.
This last statement here from Cleanup Guys is exactly it. And again, I am steering clear of the Republican president did that because that is an inherently stupid statement by left. Every single president, Republican or Democrat, contributed and lied and fabricated shit to cover this up. Exactly that. Every single freaking one of them is part of some deep state bull crap, and they were actually put there. They're on a list there's a list for the next 100 years of people that are going to be put as president of this United States of America because of the way that's what they want it to be. They've done what they've done in the 2020, and they're going to continue to do what they're going to do to actually get their narrative across. Bush did it, right, exactly. Deep state. Obama did it, exactly, even deeper.
I didn't like
Trump
it when
did
Trump
nothing.
Well, Trump went off and bombed Syria. I didn't like that. When he tomahawk bombed Syria with the accusations of chemical weapons. I didn't like that at all.
I'll backtrack myself for a second.
I didn't like that at all. And I did not like it when
that was
he
disgusting.
went after the head general of Iran. That freaked the shit out of me because I'm like, holy hell, are we going to get into a war with Iran now? I mean, that was like, holy shit. No. Now, of course, Iran...
Oh, Soleimani.
Yes, Soleimani,
yeah,
right.
Soleimani.
Now, Iran, of course, come to find out that Iran is very weak internally, and their own people are trying to turn against them.
As you can see, we don't really agree with everything Trump has done either.
Well, right, exactly. I mean, we're not stooges of people, and nobody should be, because nobody's perfect. And, sometimes people do things and they get advice from the wrong people, like, for example, Trump or another president or whatever. And they get bad advice and they go off and do things that they shouldn't.
So
sometimes that happens.
To finish his last one, he says, and Biden is doing it now. Biden has been doing it for the last 50 years. This isn't just a now thing. He's been doing this for a long time.
Oh yeah, Biden's been for war. Biden's been for all kinds of crazy crap. You go back in his record of being in the Senate for 50 years. Yeah. He's Warhawk through and through. But of course, he doesn't know where the hell he's at now. But I bet. Oh, he says on top of that, Iran celebrated his death. He was a true monster. Well, there probably was a lot of people in Iran that did. There probably was. At this point, Iran is really internally fracturing. As a matter of fact, most people in Iran don't even consider themselves to be Islamic anymore. I think there's 40% of them that consider themselves to be non-religious at this point. There was some poll that was done. I forget where the poll was, but it was some sort of internal poll that came out of Iran, and they were like, "Wow, holy!"
More of them starting to convert to Christianity of sort.
There is an uptick in Christianity, but there is more of an uptick in just sort of non-religiousness, not atheism, right? It's not we're atheistic, we don't believe in any god. It's just we don't want to ascribe to a particular religion. That was the thing, and it was kind of weird. It's okay, so are they atheistic? Are they wanting to change to Christianity, but they don't want to go with Christianity? Are they trying to go back to Zoroastrianism that was there? And I don't know. But they just describe themselves as non-religious, which basically I guess could mean anything, but they're just going away from Islam. So that's just an interesting point about it.
This is interesting. Here you go. It says, I lived in Iran for 14 years. This is cleanup, guys. No one agrees with the government, but also no one is doing about it because they're benefiting from it. Everyone is complacent, sadly. And that's sad. Really, the way you actually say that or whatever, it's almost how some of it's going on around here in the United States as well. Just
complacency is
There
were some protests and things I saw back whenever, I think it was in 2018, I think.
Does every American male have to go to war if it happens, like World War II type war? No.
It's between a certain age if there's a draft.
Right. If they decided to reenact draft rules, however it would work, 18...
Which I don't agree with at all. I think it's completely...
It was 18 to 28, 18 to 32, something like that would be... put on a draft system, which we do at the age of 18, all males, and now it's all females because of the inclusion.
Did they do that?
Actually, yep, because of the inclusion
Oh
of
my
all
God, when
females.
did that happen? I don't remember
And
this.
that's the downside of actually signing up for selective service. So now that they wanted their inclusions and they wanted to be treated the same, they were actually treated the same. Now all males, all females at the age of 18 must go down to the post office and sign up for selective service. If you don't, you can actually be found in contempt of the government of whatever, blah, blah, blah. It is something, and it is something that will always be. We have not actually, quote unquote, actually forced anybody to actually go into war since, Vietnam. But, so he says, copy from Wikipedia. We have this. According to the Constitution of Finland, every Finnish citizen is obligated to participate in national defense. Every male Finnish citizen aged 18 to 60 is liable for military service, and women can apply for military service on a voluntary basis. Okay, that's awesome. That's he did say it's copied from Wikipedia, so take a grain of salt.
But that's from 18 to 60.
18 to 60.
That's an age group that we don't have in the United States. I think that the most for the United States is, what is it, like 35 or something?
I would almost think that the reason that you wouldn't go that age in the United States is like FDA stuff or whatever, like using 40s and 50s using sugar as dietary supplements or whatever, and creating diabetes and obesity in the States or whatever, that anybody that actually made it to that age wouldn't be healthy enough to actually do what they need to do. Now, when it comes to actually defending your states or whatever, we have state militias that can actually be formed to actually, be created in each state, so it's kind of a different, strange ordeal on that. Let's see, cleanup guys, ha ha ha. So this is, don't worry, we like to boast about our Constitution, but no one really reads it either. It's the 14 small pages, and it is truly weird to read through. I highly recommend it. If you actually go to my Minds channel, you can actually see, and you can actually find it on YouTube as well, but you can actually see that I actually read the Declaration of Independence.
It is the single most successful and genius political and civic document ever to have been written. It's not, I wouldn't call it a weird read through. It is genius in its totality.
Everybody should read it.
The founding fathers were wise, and they were very smart and very intelligent men. They went back through the histories of civilization and Western civilization.
Cleanup guys, I agree with your last statement.
Yes. I have studied this. It is the single, but we've had the same Constitution in the United States for what is it now, 250 years, I guess? When is the what is the event when it's 250, the year? When is that? I forget.
I really couldn't tell you.
Crap, I forget. But it's around about 250 years. We've had the exact same Constitution. It has
sesquicentennial.
We haven't burned it up.
Is that one? No, I don't know.
I don't know. So, but and again, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, these are some of the most genius political and civic
sometimes
documents
Chad
ever
is smarter than the people that are actually doing the talking, so if you correct us on the 250 years.
Well, I know it's going to be there around there at some point. I just don't remember what year it is, or if it's already here. I don't remember.
But his last statement from Cleanup Guys, I'm sorry, I keep on calling you his. You correct me if I'm wrong. I would be shocked if I ask an honest-to-God American if they have read the Constitution and they say yes. Very shocked, because most have not and will not actually read the Constitution or understand anything that has anything to do with such thing.
It is quite sad, because you don't know your rights and you don't know your history.
Yeah, I get that the Declaration of Independence is a completely different beast, but at the same time,
not even
I haven't quite made it.
What?
This is like episode 80 something or other, and I don't need
All of their
pronouns.
signatures are on it. What do you call it?
That's
John Hancock.
Fine.
The hell?
We
Anyway.
don't. I asked him what if us here we're fairly based. There's only two genders, male and female.
Oh God! Don't say that too loud. Susan might be listening.
Just saying, and Madison Cawthorn said it the best. It's Madam Congress, something about, mark my words, I'm going to define a woman. XX chromosomes, no tallywhacker. It's just a thing. There aren't 52. There's only 2.
Pronouns are hard for me because in Finnish we have han. Is that how you say that? I don't know. And it's gender neutral. The Finnish language is very interesting to me because it's different than a lot of other languages. Finnish is very different. It's very distinct. I think some parts of it are mutually decipherable between. Or is that how you say decipherable? Between like Swedish and maybe some other Scandinavians, but some of it is. But it's very distinguished by itself. It's very interesting.
Yes, mate. Yes, 2 genders, 100%. Absolutely. So the cleanup guy says, here are the founding fathers, John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison. None of these guys have signed it.
Oh, no. What I meant to say was the framers of the Constitution, and then the founding fathers. The founding fathers were all of those men that were there at the Constitutional Convention. All of those guys that were there are considered to be the founding fathers of the country. I mean, George Washington, you say like, oh yeah, George Washington's founding father or whatever, but like, I mean, generally speaking, like the people at that Second Continental Congress that signed the Declaration of Independence, all of those would be considered to be founding fathers. And if you go back in the American education system, you will find all of those people were named as the founding fathers. And that's who they were. And you would learn about all of the signers of the Declaration of Independence as the founding fathers. So I meant to say that. I don't know. I'm sorry if I kind of messed that up. It's a little bit late for me, but that's what I meant to say. If that's what you believe about it, then that is.
He's all the way over in that Eastern time zone, so he's looking at 4:30 in the morning. So
yeah.
It's been quite the show. Thank you guys for actually joining us. Please come back and join us again. Don't worry, definitions are a bit vague. They're not really all that vague. X, Y. That's male, female. That's all you have.
About the founding fathers then.
Oh, the definitions on the founding fathers is vague. Sure. I get you.
In the modern day,
in my school, we had these 80 gender MFs, and the meat is bad people. I got so fed up with that. At least my school is over. I'm glad you actually finished your schooling. Assuming you graduated from what you did. Finland's been known for their education system. There's a fairly large group of people that actually go through there and pass because of the way they actually do their stuff. I mean, I haven't looked at all of their laws, but I believe they're smarter than us Americans for sure.
Well,
yeah, cleanup guys, I got you. I got you. It was on the founding fathers. Yeah.
But yes.
So how are we feeling? Should we?
Well,
think about wrapping up, closing up shop for the night? I mean,
I do have some things I have to attend to in the morning. Well, yes, in the morning.
I do actually work a physical job. It's only the nights that I don't work the physical job that I'm actually here and do this show midnight Central Standard Time. Tomorrow night I do work, so there will not be a show tomorrow or the next.
And that's going to be about an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes before Matt AJV, it's probably like an hour and 40 minutes or so before you join here. And of course you can look up on the internet the time zone difference between Central Standard Time US and your time there in Finland if you want to come back.
hold on here. So cleanup guy he has one last question. He says, I have a question for you guys. Let's say you get a box of apples. Some are green apples, but mostly they are red. Do you call the box red apples, or do you call it a mixed bag? Me personally, I just call them apples, and I'm going to eat them equally. I really don't give a shit. I mean, they're apple.
What? I don't understand this question.
If you're given a box of apples, there are some green apples, but mostly they're red. Do you call the box red apples, or do you call it a mixed bag? Do you eliminate one color, or do you not?
Oh God, is this a racist question? Like, is this a racist litmus test?
That's
thing or
pretty
whatever?
much what he
This
was
is what
trying
it
to get
sounded
at.
like or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, oh God.
Yeah, and that was my thought, and that's exactly what it is. I gave you the truth. They're just apples.
Oh, it's a gender question. Well, still. Well, what about gender? Like, what?
If there was some gender stuff that had come up because I had said there's only two genders.
Oh yeah, but like, how does that tie into the question?
I don't know. He's trying to see if we're potentially gay. I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not. I have 3 children, all 10 years apart.
2000.
AmericaShirts are fluffered.
You know what?
I mean, we can,
It doesn't flow as smoothly off the tongue though as Koolfrogg. I'm sorry.
All right. Apparently, we've run our course for the night, running 3 hours and 20 minutes in. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Share the video. Tell your friends. Tell your buddies that you held a conversation with a couple of based gentlemen out of the United States, and you think that it's fun to actually hold a conversation with again. You're making the assumption that if you're male and you are 100%, every cell of your body is male, which is not true. But I disagree. I'm not expert on that subject matter. You're making the assumption that if you were male, you're 100%, every cell in your body is male. No, the thing is there's only 2 genders. There's XX and there's XY, and there's nothing in between. You don't get to sit there and say, "Oh, I took my tallywhacker off, and now I don't have." Now I'm something else. No, it's not how it works. You're now just a male without a tallywhacker.
This is where we have come to. We're actually having this discussion.
Cells, yes, but we're not just cells, are we? I mean, we're carbon.
Oh no. Oh boy.
We're not going to go here. We're going to actually go away. We will do just reading the paper, episode 3, in a few days. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure that you do. Hit some kind of a bell or whatever so that you can see when we go live, and you can actually come and join us, hold conversations with us.
Subscribe.
Do all those things.
Like, share,
if you want to support me, immediately go to buymeacoffee.com/Koolfrogg. Leave comments there. Leave a tip, and we'll totally read those comments in live format when they come up. You can actually go to AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com.
This is AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com, the most based t-shirts on the planet. You can get 15% off any shirt in the store by using the discount code Koolfrogg at checkout. So go check that out, and whoever sees you in that shirt is going to see the truth. Whoever sees your shirt is going to see the truth. Invest in the truth. Put the truth out there for people to see. Go grab
should we show that?
And
you want to
again,
show your website?
If
I haven't
you
looked
want
at it
to.
lately. Yeah, we'll pull that up.
I also have a Rumble channel as well, where I have 180 subscribers on Rumble. It's the same avatar that you see here on the screen, and it's the same spelling of my name that you see here on the screen, America Shirts. Capital A, capital S, all one word. You can go there and you can find all of my videos that I post. I have posted the 2 documentaries by Oliver Stone about the Russia-Ukraine thing. I also go into detail about all these different things pertaining to Russia and Ukraine. Go and check that out if you would like to know about that information. And again, I'm not the only one that posted Oliver Stone's documentaries. There are other people that have as well on Rumble and other platforms, but you can't find it on YouTube because that is banned as crap, because no one wants you to hear the truth about the matter. So, yeah.
So you can follow him, Vocals, Rumble, Odyssey, Getter. He's all over the place, whatever. He does have more links than just those. The links, easy way to find them. Look down in the description down below. There's links down below for everybody that's normally on this show.
On YouTube, is it on?
It should populate it across. Yeah, it should populate it across all platforms when I actually.
Because he says
that
make
button.
sure to link your YouTube here as well, and he's on Twitch. Is it on?
I'll go over to Twitch real quick here, and I'll send you a link to get to my YouTube.
Oh, Cleanup Guy says, so guys, I had a blast chatting with you. I appreciate your open-mindedness. To talk about, or willing, I guess maybe that's what he's meaning, willing to talk about uncomfortable things and staying incredibly respectful. Kudos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's awesome. If you can do me the favor, I'm going to send a link over to the Twitch side here real fast. And we can...
Well, yes, there he says, I feel like we need more conversations like this. It is like we're seeing the most extremes of each other on the media, where in reality, we are just trying to live our lives and get things to work for us. Well, yeah.
Right.
Essentially, yes. And they're trying to pit everybody against each other. And that's
actually,
the whole
I should be able to do it here.
It is these globalist people who are trying to do this crap. And they're pitting everybody against each other. They have control of these media corporations.
There you go. There's the YouTube link. I just sent it. It should be the correct link for
Does
my
that go out to
YouTube
all
channel.
the chats?
Yes, it should go to both.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
it should go out to both.
I agree. Just saying. But yeah.
And I was showing you a website is what I was doing. So then you can see that there's some really nice base T-shirts.
So base they cannot be spoken.
You can't actually say most of these words on YouTube. So we just kind of show the screen, and so you can kind of make odds with it with what you will. And don't forget, Koolfrogg as a promo code. You get 15% off. Awesome. Thanks, Cleanup Guy. It's good to know that there's somebody out there, and come back and watch us again.
Yeah, I mean, we can't constantly have back and forth. I mean, today we had back and forth pretty much. We're kind of done with what we were doing there. But if we are in the middle of something, sometimes it can't be always a back and forth. But generally speaking, we do interact with chat. We do talk back and forth with chat for the most part. But but just keep in mind, like, we still do have to go through different things in the video that we do.
So if you guys want Discord links, hit me up in private DM somewhere or whatever, and we'll totally hit up Discord links, and we can hold conversations on a regular basis. You don't have to just do it during the show.
Okay, he says it is fair. Yeah, okay. But yeah.
Right.
Yep. Oh yeah, what he said too. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, hit that YouTube link that I just threw up there, and go and hit that sub for me. Eventually, we'll get to that monetization level where we can actually, maybe make some money off of it. But we're not here for that. We're just here to actually let you know what's actually going on. We just want the subs. We want more people to actually see what we have to say.
Subs. I like subs. I like hoagies too. That's pretty good.
Ooh, sandwiches.
Don't finish my sandwich, because that's just gay. Anyway.
Finishing other people's sandwiches is kind of interesting.
Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely, cleanup guys. That's exactly why we're here. If we can make this work and make some cash on the side, power to you. And that's exactly what we're here for.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
So let's throw one thing up here real quick. This is what we usually play at the end of the show.
Yeah.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Later, peeps.